Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in.
Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here, coming at you live from the heat of Satan's butthole here in the Grand Canyon. Lord of mercy. Got some slight technical difficulties here, but welcome back here, folks of the interwebs. Your host of Operation GCD right there, JJ Vance, not the vice president. Do not vote for me, folks, in 2028. Although Hunter Biden, America's resident PhD for crack doctors, he's probably running. Anyway, I'm be too busy vampire hunting here, folks. Welcome back here, folks, to the interwebs. I will be your pilot and navigator for tonight's shenanigan-infused journey into the mind of this here particular garbage can dude. And as always, we wouldn't be Operation GCD Fridaze properly without introduction from old Buffalo Jared Revisa. That Muppet wanted to be my PR rep. Turns out he's a multi-state, mind-controlled transpocalypse assassin fellow. He stabbed a bunch of folks. Anyhow, joining me here tonight for got a real barn burner here on deck for y'all tonight. And joining me here tonight for that barn burner, other JJ, Jacob J, host of Rise to Liberty. How you doing, sir? Welcome back to Operation GCD for your absolutely very first time ever.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here for my very first time. This is going to be great. So thanks for having me back for my very first time.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining me here as my co-pilot here on Fridays. And folks of the interwebs wish to provide a tip. If you feel entertained or educated here this evening, and want to tip your host, please feel free to jump on over to supertip.gg/Operation GCD, and I'll put a link in the show notes there. And it's also on the screen. You can do a interactive AI voice chat tip, which will pop on the screen there. We got some Alex Hicks, Info Horse, Laser Tag Ted Gunderson, of course, when he's not dodging lasers. Not Dead Jeff. He's always a hot topic of conversation. I'm generally of the mindset that all things in our world today are connected to Jeffrey Epstein, it seems. But anyhow, put a link in the show notes for that. But thank you all for joining us here tonight to get a little GCD. We got ourselves a real barn burning guest here tonight, too. Phil Z, secret agent of the Dewey Decimal Agency. How you doing, sir?
Very good. Very good.
GCD for your very first time.
Thank you. Good to be here for my very first time.
Yes, sir. What we had a real barn burner of a film review the other night here on Operation GCD and the cult and/or esoteric film review. Not your typical time travel film, but one I certainly appreciate.
Absolutely. Wasn't that the Bag of Dicks movie?
Woody Allen should have been, right? Woody Allen's Bag of Dicks film. Yeah, everything I see these days, maybe I'm just seeing Epstein everywhere, but it seems like Epstein's connected to literally everything, including Woody Allen when he made that film Midnight in Paris. That was when he first started hanging out with old not dead Jeff, as I like to call him.
Yeah. You mean Palm Beach Pete?
Well, I'm glad you said that. I was actually going to bring that topic of conversation up. What a sick son of a bitch that Palm Beach Pete is.
Yeah. I saw it. So does everyone know what Cameo is? Where you can like...
Oh, he has a Cameo, dude?
He has a Cameo. Okay. And I saw one today to where he said that Little St. James is now Palm Beach Pete Island. Like, okay. I don't know why the fuck you would say that, but...
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
That's very
the
weird.
Idea. Well, he's running for mayor now. I saw him courtside up in Phil's neck of the woods in New York City.
Oh,
next to Ben Stiller.
Definitely not Epstein.
Well, the idea that he's running, like, that aside, like that's just creepy, dude. But like, the idea that he's running for mayor now in Palm Beach on a platform that he looks like the most ardent pedophile that's known in the world right now. Like he's at least the number one pick for pedophiles right now.
So the reason why everyone knows him is because how much he looks like the most, arguably the most successful pedophile known to history. And so like I get trying to ride the wave of the popularity if you're trying to do something with that, but a weird hill to die on. And also, why would you tie that in with politics? And well, actually, I guess it actually flows together with the politics. You know, that actually makes sense if you're gonna, you know, ride this wave.
Yeah,
where was he beforehand? Like, there's a reference in the Epstein emails that claims that, like, hey, I saw your double at the this restaurant in Palm Beach.
Like, yeah, I saw your doppelganger or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. Yeah. Super, super strange.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, dude. And the dude is who's financing this? Like, I see all this dude's social media, like this clip right here.
Hey guys, where in the world is Palm Beach Pete? He's in his new McLaren because he won a ton of money on steak. He's going crazy, and I'm taking my girls to St. Bart on a big shopping trip.
Beach me, baby.
What a bunch of Muppets, dude. He's at an ad campaign and a McLaren for some gambling website.
It's so weird.
It's almost like, you know, what is it when they said that Saddam Hussein had doubles and Bin Laden,
right?
You know, and it's like, okay, and then we get Jeffrey Epstein's double, who, I mean, you know, at first is kind of denying it, and now he's like just jumping into it, you know, embracing the creepy, you know, the creepiness of it. I mean, it's we live in a clown world, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they're all Muppets, sir. They're all Muppets. So he's got his own Wikipedia page, old Palm Beach Pete.
Oh Jesus.
So did you guys see that the other guy that had gone by Palm Beach Pete on YouTube for like years finally made a video because everyone was like, oh man, he hasn't posted in like a year, where is he? But he has like a fishing channel.
I did see that guy.
Yeah, so he actually posted a video finally, which I think is very interesting. He kind of says all the things that everyone seems to be thinking, like why is this guy coming out calling himself Palm Beach Pete? Why is he, you know, why is he trying to gain popularity off of that, which is super strange. Like, I don't know, if I was associated with anything related to Epstein, I'm running, dude. I don't want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a weird thing to just jam yourself up into that like I would not want to be associated with an ardent pedophile whatsoever.
Right.
It's a weird image to him, not only to accept but to embrace and like do these advertisements. Hey, I'm Palm Beach. He's courtside at the next game. Like those tickets are going for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Right. So I don't know, dude. It's super, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I think part of this is kind of like part of some sort of demoralization campaign or something.
That's what I would say it is to some degree, because I mean, as far as him being Epstein, I mean, they may have been playing some sort of doubles game. I think, you know, it is common to have doubles in intel operations, which, you know, obviously
might be a long lost
associated
brother
with those unintelligent bastards.
Right. I mean, so it might be a long lost brother or somebody else in the Epstein clan or something as well, because I mean, his brother, who we know as his brother, looks nothing like him
at all, dude. At all.
So, I mean, and then there's like the weird foundation that the Humpty Dumpty Foundation or whatever that his brother was a part of. And I don't know, dude, the whole thing is super strange. And then I don't know, all this stuff with
I didn't know this. Palm Beach Pete had an appearance on The Real Housewives of New York City.
No way. Huh.
I gotta find it. I found him in a real estate magazine in like the early 90s in New York City. He was featured in probably some sort of vanity piece, right, where he paid to be in it. But nonetheless, there was a publication, because he was in real estate, commercial real estate in New York City, which is just strange in and of itself, because that the Austrian passport that Jeffrey Epstein had, that same name is an actual commercial real estate dude in Austria and in New York City,
right,
and in Saudi Arabia, like it said in the document. So yeah, there's so much weird, duplications of identities and characteristics
Right.
You know, but the one thing folks aren't talking about, despite how creepy that whole situation is with Palm Beach Pete, is, you know, it does just seem to distract from the Epstein situation. Strangely enough, you think it would attract more attention to it. I feel like because he's running around saying, "Hey guys, I look like your favorite friend Jeffrey Epstein."
Right. I don't know, dude. It's all super strange, make me uncomfortable. Also, it seems like a bit of a distraction, you know, like because I absolutely wholeheartedly believe. Let me know what you guys think. That conspiracies or, you know, parapolitics, deep politics, that all of these things have been weaponized against people.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why we've kind of seen a switch from the fact that we at one point would get like absolutely banned off of any platform for questioning almost anything. And then now it's like you can question everything. You know, it's super strange.
It is a bit of a flip. Yeah. Dude. Yeah, how tall is Palm Beach Pete? He looks pretty tiny next to Ben Stiller here courtside.
Really, sitting courtside next to
Timothée Chalamet and Ben Stiller. You know,
right. How tall is
Zelensky's
Ben
favorite
Stiller?
actor. Oh, dude, I'm thinking maybe 5'4", maybe.
Why is it that like all the leading men in Hollywood are like super short?
He's a tiny fella. Yeah, well, that's a standard Jewish height, I think, right? That's the other thing that sticks out to me about the story of Epstein is I thought he was more like 6 foot. But he might be as tall as 6'2". He's at least 6 foot tall.
I thought he was at least 6 foot.
He's at least 6 foot, right? And you know, we see Palm Beach Pete is significantly shorter because that's a standard Jewish height for a Jewish man right there.
Right.
You know, you don't normally see him as Jewish men being, you know, having a muscular build, a wide build, and being as tall as Epstein was.
Right. Well, so is Epstein ethnically Jewish?
I don't know, dude. That's what I'm saying. Because his brother Mark Epstein looks like he's about 5'4". He's bald. He's got a lot of Jewish features, right? That's what I'm saying. He looks nothing like Jeffrey Epstein, right? Not even their younger years in those pictures. So,
well, and it kind of seems like I don't know, some of these people that he was working with in other countries, because obviously he wasn't working for just one country, like multiples
for sure.
But it kind of seems like he was like a middleman somehow between like the Rothschilds and like all of these heads of state and captains of industry and stuff. I bet he's way further up the ladder than I think anyone initially thought. You know, he's not just a child smuggler, not just a pedophile. He's very clearly like in charge of pulling some major strings, you know? So
for sure.
Kind of seems like these people work for him.
I think, you know, to the way that, you know, the government would prefer to see it is that he is a con man. Almost like he's like a Clark Rockefeller, you know, a guy who just kind of has a great BS story.
Clark Rockefeller, right.
You know, maybe has a dead body in his past or whatnot. But, you know, you even see, what's his name? John Kiriakou, the former CIA guy, go on and say, oh, he wasn't CIA. He was probably more like that. And it's like, okay, are you saying that because, you know, you're trying to deflect, you know?
Right.
Like, I mean, because again, for the most part, do most of these guys really retire from the CIA, even though they say, oh, you know, I got,
was that a recent statement Kiriakou made? Because I heard him say before on the Danny Jones show that he believes that he was working for Israel.
Yeah, I think I think it was pretty recently actually, because he's been on a lot of different
he's
programs,
all over the place right now.
Yeah, he said he wasn't CIA. I know that. Right. And I said, and everything else, I mean, he could have been, you know, more Mossad, but also a CIA. I mean, are we saying assets don't get, like you said, don't work for multiple countries? I mean, you could have someone, maybe he even got doubled at a point, you know? I mean, look at his, almost his prospective father-in-law, Robert Maxwell. Like, Robert Maxwell was a double, if not like a triple agent And you get guys like that, and they swim with the sharks. They have information, or they have access to certain things.
Right.
And obviously, in Epstein's case, it seemed to be an entire, just way too much access to young women, and even women of age who were still, obviously abused, and even the ones he got close to, you think of even the ones he managed to co-opt and managed to bring in with him, on this, the ones who were basically, co-conspirators. So it's, it's crazy. I mean, I would say it wouldn't surprise me. Obviously CIA, Mossad,
right?
Maybe MI6. I mean, it's there'll probably be a long list. I know at one point they were trying to say the Russians, but I'm like, I don't think so.
No, most likely not. I mean, not like Putin's a good guy or anything, but
did
he have a lot of Russian? I didn't remember seeing a lot of Russian outside of the modeling stuff from the former Russian republics.
No, he did have a lot of interest in Ukraine, but I mean, Ukraine is a massive human trafficking hub, and also a huge snuff film hub. So I mean, that makes sense. But I mean, Putin does
the snuff films over there, huh? In the Ukraines.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's part of the reason what they're defending over there. It's the biolabs, the human trafficking.
For sure,
that's what they're trying to keep going because it's been so successful over there.
There are a lot of Nazis over there in the Ukraine, so I think those topics seem to go hand in hand.
Yeah, and they try to deny it. They try to deny the whole Azov battalion and those guys. But with Epstein, it's like I feel like the closer we seem to be getting, they're moving the goalposts further and further and further. It's
right.
They don't want us to know. That's why all that information. I look at what they dumped on the website and stuff. I kind of compared it to when someone is suing, like a class action lawsuit, and they drop 3 million files of discovery the weekend before the case starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the Tyler Robinson case, they're doing the same stuff in right now.
Yeah. Right. I mean, did you watch any of that today, by the way? Either
I didn't get a chance. I listened about 10 minutes of it.
Very interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I mean, anytime I see anything about that, it's probably from what's his name? His name is eluding me now. He's on Twitter though. To see him a lot.
JD Cash.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Ken Silva. Ken Silva.
Yeah, Ken Silva. There we go. I can't think of his real name. I can't think of his Twitter handle. Yeah, Ken Silva.
So the best coverage as far as like the Tyler Robinson stuff, at least locally, is KSL. So anyone who is interested in that coverage, local coverage at KSL Utah, is doing some of the best stuff. Although KSL is owned by the church, so heads up. Go ahead, sir.
What was that?
That KSL does the best coverage of the Robinson trial, plus they live stream stuff. But KSL is owned by the LDS Church, so be aware of that. Pretty good reporting, though, all things considered. So that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'd like to get into some of those details on that case because it is very interesting. I see a lot of parallels with other high-profile cases, like the Idaho 4 case. But if they're going to try to tell me that Ben Stiller's 5'7", dude, what does that make Tom Cruise 6 foot tall?
Well, we all know he wears he wears what are they, risers or
lifts?
Yeah, lifts. There you go. Yeah, he definitely wears lifts. I heard they're like 3-4 inches though.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's a short little guy.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And they're trying to say he's 5'7", dude. I'm like, all right, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But also, I mean, a lot of this stuff gets edited before it gets published by, whatever outlet.
Well, Scientology wants to make you believe that Tom Cruise is the tall guy.
Right.
So what was some of these new details on the Epstein, or not the Epstein, may as well be the Epstein. I'm sure there's some Epstein connections there, right? Besides the folks perpetrating the propaganda.
Right. So the big thing with Robinson today was the defense was trying to get the death penalty removed, like off the table as an option, due to like prosecutorial misconduct or something. And they were trying to get some stuff moved around with the schedule because the preliminary hearing is May 6th or May something. And then after that, let's see, the main trial starts July 6th. So just a couple of days after the 4th of July, which I find interesting.
The trial's beginning that fast? I figured they were going to continue to slow roll this situation.
Nope. The judge is pushing it through. In fact, that was part of his comments today, was that it is constitutionally in the interest of both the prosecution and the defense for the trial to basically pick up the pace. Honestly, I'm a big fan of the judge so far anyways. He's been very straightforward, very honest, and very fair in my opinion. Although I do think Robinson's being railroaded. He's clearly not the trigger man.
Right. So what's the story? The prosecutors wanted cameras in there and the defense didn't?
Well, that was actually already decided upon. But what the news media has to do every single time is they have to put in a request for every single hearing, which I find very, very interesting. It's like, why every single time? Let's see, I'm going to pull it up. But so yeah, they already decided on
each hearing. They have to just they're going to be allowed to film, but it's like dictated upon each hearing.
Right. So KSL has to apply for a streaming permit, basically every single in-person court appearance. Or so here in Utah, we have a thing called WebEx, which is how they are able to do the court online. I don't know if they use it in other states. I just know my state, but yeah, that's what they're trying to do. So it says here, Tyler Robinson's defense seeks to remove the death penalty due to alleged misconduct on behalf of prosecution. Prosecutors claim media statements aimed to correct misinformation about the murder case. And then Judge Graff will rule on hearsay and contempt issues on June 22nd. That's a typo. That should have said 2026.
So they were trying to say that the prosecution had violated the gag order?
I believe so, if I'm understanding it correctly. So, within all fairness, the prosecution is kind of acting like it's a slam dunk, like they're acting as if like, oh, this is already in the bag.
That seems weird, doesn't it?
A little bit. However, one of Tyler's defense attorneys, the one that I've met with before, this was like unrelated, way before all of this happened, but Kathleen Nestor, she is a bulldog. She I've never met a lawyer that I could actually like sing the praises of, but her record is like impeccable. She genuinely fights for justice. And as soon as I saw her on his team, I mean, that's it. Like the truth will come out when it comes to at least him. I don't know about the whole situation, but regarding Robinson, if justice exists, she will help find it.
Because he pled not guilty, right?
I believe.
I don't know. No contest or anything else like this. I mean, they had his arraignment, right? I haven't seen the man testify at all. I'm assuming that they've had his arraignment.
Well, the trial hasn't started yet. That's not until the 6th.
I'm saying, I mean, I haven't even seen him put in his arraignment hearing.
Well,
they didn't have cameras inside for that, though, did they?
No, I think that was done online. So that was done through the WebEx thing.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is like they're basically trying to argue about how the trial is going to happen. Because for one, it is like a high profile case, which every few decades Utah has one of these. because once again, I keep trying to tell everyone, pay attention to Utah, what's going on here. This state is a lot more important than people realize. But because it's such a high profile case, there's a lot of like, scheduling conflicts coming out, and also the prosecution and the defense are both arguing back and forth about how the trial is going to happen, which I can't quite disagree with, because he deserves the best defense possible. Innocent until proven guilty, period. So, if there is any misconduct on behalf of the prosecution on the state side or county side, it definitely needs to be called out. Absolutely. Utah is notorious as far as their corrupt judicial system. Like it is wild how corrupt it is here.
Really?
Oh yeah.
In what fashion? More so than New York? New York's infamously corrupt in their law enforcement.
Well, I mean, we do have the third worst conviction rate for sexual assault crimes, which is wild to me. I can't remember the exact statistics off the top of my head. I'll have to find them, but our judicial system here is absolutely insane. Some of the ways that, like, out in the middle of nowhere kind of courts, right? You'll just have some of the most insane hearings. Justice gets robbed all the time from people out here. I think, let's see, probably the best example I can think of is the David Hamblin case.
That's what I was going to say. Obviously, that's a pretty good example, right?
No, I think it's a gleaming example. It's a perfect example. The man admitted on recording that he molested his daughter. And then
daughters, right?
Yeah, daughters. He apologized for it, which, okay, psycho. But so he does this and then still has never been able to get charges to stick. Every single time, either somebody in the judicial system gets promoted. Like this last time, they kept him in jail for so long, and like discovery never happened. Basically, the prosecution was unable to do their job because of his defense. And then his defense basically applied for what is it? It's like, well, you guys are taking too long, so let's go ahead and dismiss this, kind of a ruling. And that's basically what ended up happening. But it was the defense that actually kept it dragging out so long.
Well, that's what I mean. Like this is an article from April. I'm a little behind on the court schedule here of what's going on, but
right.
I didn't think so. I didn't think I'd seen the arraignment hearing yet. On Friday, Robinson's defense attorneys also argued to delay his preliminary hearing. So why is the defense doing that, right?
Let's see. How old is that one?
That was April 17th.
April.
I guess they had some hearings in May, I guess, right? Was that the arraignment?
Right.
I haven't gotten that far. But it
see.
seems to be the defense trying to delay it, right?
Well, they've actually gone back and forth. There's been reasons for the defense to delay it, largely because, like, first and foremost, there was a potential conflict of interest within the county attorney's office in Utah County. So they had a whole hearing about that, got that worked out. So that came from the defense, and then the prosecution has what did they try and get stopped or changed? I don't know.
They were trying to get the cameras out of the courtroom, which was, again, I thought was another odd move.
Yes, very odd. And the judge was actually pissed about that. He was not very happy with them trying to do that. He said on the bench that it is in the public's interest to be able to have access to this trial.
Yeah, so, all these gag orders, dude, all of this.
Right.
You can't film shit. You can't talk about it. You know, all this stuff, dude. I feel contrary to justice.
Well, and they are using the justification that, in the interest of Erica Kirk and stuff, like we need to do these things. And it's like, no, you don't. You're trying to hide things so you can't get called on anything. because the public, the public's going to watch this with a microscope, as they should, and then
For sure.
everything's going to be out in the open, So I don't know.
That's the shit show we see in Idaho, man. And then
right.
They release books before they release any of the official records, right?
Right.
Phil got some books on the topic before anyone saw any of the actual court records.
Right.
Yeah, what the Howard Blum book dropped before any sort of court action had happened, and then right around the time of what was it, the guilty plea or whatever, it was the James Patterson Vicky Ward book came out.
Yeah, they're like back to back, right? This time last year, they were getting ready to hit the streets.
Yep, and it's
got
funny
48 hours on it. Got an Amazon Prime, I think, documentary on it.
Yep, and now you have that new book that just dropped. About the case or whatnot. I have got it from the library. Still got to read that one.
Yeah, I saw that one, but haven't looked into it.
It'll probably be another whitewash. So many of these books.
I was going to say nothing gets really resolved, right? Nothing gets resolved,
right?
Yeah, I mean, they might say, "Hey, we
running
have
in circles."
We'll drop, like one or two new things that no one knew before. But yeah, it'll be kind of like what we're talking about with these document drops, like whether it be JFK, Epstein, UFOs, all these things that are like, yeah, no, heard it. Like, you get someone who comes up to you, be like, with JFK, they're like, hey, have you heard of Operation Northwoods? I'm like, yeah, I've known about it for 20 years. It's good to have you with us.
I saw somebody.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I saw somebody the other day. Well, actually, this was like 2 weeks ago. Somebody commented on X and said, "Oh, MK Ultra is actually real." It's like, yeah. Where have you been?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, that's why I think shows like this are important, though, because there actually are still a bunch of people that have no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then nor they have the ideas that the folks that come out and tell these tales, the Brent Turveys, the Christopher Whitcombs, relative to the Idaho 4 situation. We see these are the usual Muppets. This guy was an FBI Muppet from the hostage rescue team on the Waco siege and the LA riots and Ruby Ridge, right? Then he went to go work. He was one of the snipers at Ruby Ridge by his own admission. And then he went to go work by his own admission. He went to go work, didn't make his Wikipedia page, but by his own admission, he went to go work down at Guantanamo Bay with some of those detention center operations.
Yeah, that's active MK Ultra programming going on in those places. So
yeah, and then we get censored court. Yeah, then we get censored court records, and we get this Muppet out here telling us what the alleged real deal is. Like, I got no ulterior motives. I'm here to help.
Right.
We're the government.
We're the government.
Yeah, dude.
You can trust us.
And
I'm here to
no
help.
Time in any of their, like, each one drops like a little nugget, like a little mystery nugget. Like, oh, follow this little nugget down this little mystery hole. You get lost there because it's a bunch of nonsense. When at the end of the day, when I say you lost, you lost away, distracted from the most important, what I would call the most salient, takeaways from the situation is, there's no justice here. They're just making shit up, imprisoning folks without any evidence. Making up the evidence in some respects. Right. Like, oh well, if you look at it this way and you turn ways and you're upside down, well then you can see it that way. They're really straining credulity to reach a lot of these conclusions. Like Brian Koberger did it, like Tyler Robinson did it.
Right.
Well, I just finished a book today that was about like injustice in court cases. It was called like Justice for Some, I believe is what it was called. But one of the last stories was Bruno Richard Hauptmann with the Lindbergh case. And basically, in the end, how completely railroaded Hauptmann was. I mean, in the end, all they had was that he had some of the ransom money, but they never could actually, he physically put him there. Like, the evidence was so, it barely even touched circumstantial. He was just, German immigrant, fought for the German side in World War I. It's Lindbergh is America's hero, and it just went from there. And I mean, who was it? Norman Schwarzkopf's father was one of the key Jersey State Police cops who
For sure.
went after him. Hoover had issues with the case. I mean, they basically said Lindbergh was almost kind of like, what's his name, John Ramsey, in having way too much access to, evidence. Like, I mean, just kind of way too much free reign in the investigation, when maybe they should have been looking, and not saying that Charles Lindbergh did it, but that you have to look to the family first. It's a horrible thing to have to do it, but
there was a strange ransom, right? With that case, right?
I think there's a strange ransom. They don't even know if it was when they found the body, because I think it was like months. It was a while between the kidnapping and when they found the baby's body. They weren't even sure it was actually Charles Jr. Some believe, and then Charles Lindbergh Sr. basically did cremated, had the kid quickly cremated, and then when I guess they were re-examining the case, Lindbergh and his wife and their new child went to Europe. And right as they were, the governor of the state, who I believe actually was a Republican, and it kind of cost him for kind of looking into the case, was trying to get to the bottom of it, but just in the end, they were like, "Yep, no appeals." Basically didn't give him any appeals, executed him, and that was it. That was
a quick execution compared to what we see today, right?
Yeah, I mean, they executed him
for sure,
1936. So yeah, it was, it's one of those cases that people will still be asking. It's insane. But again, back then, how many people just took everything they were told? And again, that's what, you see the parallels now, where it's just whoever would have been, whether it be one of the top Jersey cops or whatever the case is, saying we got our man, case closed. I mean, I doubt they said anything about Valhalla the way Cash Patel did.
But, dude, I think we got a little bit closer to Valhalla today with Donald Trump's alleged alien interactions, right?
That was a weird picture. I said I saw the three figures, and I'm like, all right, what is he doing hanging out with the Lucius Malfoy Appreciation Society?
I saw that. That was a good one. Yeah, I like that. It does. They do look like some sort of a vampire, or the Harry Potter wizard fella.
Yep.
We see some of the same. So you think Hoover had a legitimate beef over this matter, or was this some of the same kind of window dressing we see today with the Kirk case and the FBI and the state authorities?
No,
the FBI and the state authorities in Idaho, right? They play these kind of public games, I feel like.
Hoover, I mean, was absolutely compromised. He was totally blackmailed by Roy Cohn. He was able to get evidence of Hoover's cross-dressing, and I assume some sort of unacceptable.
You mean to tell me that dude he ran around with wasn't just his friend, dude?
No, they were friends. They were
very
pals.
friendly.
Yes, very friendly. So I don't think anything with Hoover was honestly real. He was literally just playing a part, genuinely.
Yep. And the guy always managed to, while everybody else, went to, either got kicked out of office or kind of got subject to scrutiny for overreach. Hoover was he had already started compiling a card, an index card system of people to be rounded up. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the first Red Scare. And when there was the bombings of A. Mitchell Palmer's house, the attorney general under Woodrow Wilson, and some of the early prosecutions that happened afterwards, when there started to be pushback about kind of a little bit too much, going after the seditionists and all that, Hoover kind of once it did the Homer Simpson, the step back through the bushes, and disappeared. Hoover, I mean, you don't get to be the head of an agency for 48 years, literally bypass mandatory retirement, which he should have been.
Right.
He had the goods. I mean, yes, he was compromised, but I said his files, I still think those files exist. They said
sure.
that They said that after he died, someone had a bonfire in the Virginia woods. I'm like, no way.
No.
I said, with the exception of someone's own files, I said, I would think you would want to keep those. They made allusion to that in what was it, The Rock, what Sean Connery had a hold of. Yep, and I think those files were they were kept. They just became something. That's why I never thought what's his name, a guy like Mark Felt was so squeaky clean in regards to him being deep throat. No, the guy with the conscience. I said no, he was a piece of garbage who wanted the top job, didn't get it. Was a leaker to the Nixon testified.
So you think Mark Felt was deep throat in the Watergate scandal?
No, I don't. I think he was. He gave information, but some of these stories afterwards, some of the leads that Woodward and Bernstein got were after Felt got fired. So they're like,
I just assumed that was all from the Office of Navy Intelligence or something like that.
I think Haig was a source. I think Alexander Haig, because Woodward was a briefer at the Pentagon. He was Navy, and he's always been cagey about his association with Haig, and this is a guy who gets all access to Bill Casey on his deathbed, even though Casey probably couldn't have said jack shit. I mean, he had already had a seizure and he was comatose.
What was the date of that release though, relative to some of Hoover? Like when did it, relative to Hoover's death? The
release of what?
The Watergate stuff. Like when did the Woodward and Bernstein show begin? It was right around the same time, right?
So they were, if you even believe the movie, right? So the movie,
right. If you believe the movie, right?
Well, they were.
If you believe that Tom Cruise is 6 foot tall and Ben Stiller's 5'7".
Well, what's his name? Robert Redford bought the rights to All the President's Men.
That's right. They made that real quick too,
before the book was even finished. But Bernstein was basically, both of them were pretty close to being fired at the Post because they were just, they were, young guys. They weren't doing much. They wanted more senior reporters to handle the case. But, like when you look at it overall, I mean, not even just Woodward and Bernstein and what connections they had, but a guy like Ben Bradley, Ben Bradley, who at one point, what's her name? Mary Meyer, who gets murdered. That's his sister-in-law.
Right.
He's friends with Jim Angleton, who at one point he catches outside Mary Meyer's one of her places because Angleton was looking for Mary Meyer's diary. I question Ben Bradley's integrity in terms of everything. Great character in the movie. I mean, Jason Robards, I think, won an Academy Award for that. He had just gotten sober. With Watergate, though, you wonder though if Hoover doesn't die, would this have blown up the way it did?
That's what I was thinking, right? Because Hoover dies on May 2nd, 1972, and then the break-in is on June 17th, 1972.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that break-in was never meant to succeed because that was actually their second, the second break-in, because supposedly one of the listening devices had malfunctioned. Across the street from the Watergate, you had, I think it was like a Howard Johnson's, and a guy named Alfred Baldwin was monitoring the recordings. And at one point, they're like, we're not getting anything out of this. Because the whole thing was they had at least two listening devices, and one was on Spencer Oliver, who was in the DNC. It was on his phone. Because everyone's like, they were going after Larry O'Brien, who was the head of the Democratic National Committee. Larry O'Brien, who Howard Hughes hired for a brief bit after he had worked for R.F. Kennedy, and Hughes tried to get everybody on RFK's campaign after Kennedy's shooting. But they never had anything with O'Brien. It was more Spencer Oliver. There was a woman named Maxie Wells. And then there's the story of one of the burglars who had a key to one of the people's desks, and just kind of the weird stuff there. So Watergate's never been
fully flushed out, right?
Yeah, no, hell no. I mean, one of the people who has the answer.
I mean, it was a coup. It was a total coup of Nixon.
Absolutely.
And like the fact that it pisses me off because those journalists, like that was like their first story. You know, like they're fresh out of journalism school, and then they
Fresh out
basically
the Navy, sir.
yeah, journalism school, like I said. So, and they get handed basically on a silver platter one of the biggest, news, political scandals that they're able to write about. Like, that's too perfect. That is way too perfect.
Yeah, and outshine every other newspaper at the time.
Right.
I mean, they were saying, why doesn't the Times have this? Why do like all these other
Right.
papers? And even when they screw up, because at one point I think they named Haldeman in terms of, like, I guess, one of the big aspects of the burglary or one of the slush funds, and in the end they were wrong. And that was the one thing that kind of hurt them. But it said at the same time, most of their other stories were quote unquote on target. Silent Coup, that was written about Watergate by Len Kolodny and a guy named Robert Getlin.
What's it called? Silent Coup?
Silent Coup, yeah. It was. They got sued actually because they made mention about John Dean's wife, Maureen, her friendship with Heidi Reichen, who was a madam that was.
That's what I was going to say. This connects to the prostitution ring, then, huh?
Yep. And later on, G. Gordon Liddy testified for them, and then Liddy got sued by Dean, and actually that woman, Maxie Wells, there was a whole thing with that. And in the end, it came out to be nothing. Like Liddy, I think at the end was found out to be more truthful than John Dean, which that's pretty damn true. John Dean still tries to reinvent his role to try to make himself more like the knight in shining armor of that story, the man with the conscience, this and that. And
right.
I mean, if anyone gave the order to go in the Watergate, it was John Dean. They never have Nixon has given that order. They could never definitively pin it on John Mitchell. John Mitchell never said anything. I mean, John Mitchell
was the Attorney General at the time, right?
Well, he was Attorney General, and then he resigned to manage the committee to reelect.
Okay.
And
interesting.
Then, so the story was they wanted to start like a political intelligence collection operation. And, you had the plumbers who were already designed to plug the leaks in the White House because there was a lot of leaking going on. Mm-hmm. There was actually a joke nickname, they even had on an Norfolk store called the Plumbers. And initially they had a guy named Eagle Crow, who later on I think he wound up with the NTSB or something. He wound up being there in and around the time Hunt's wife got killed in a plane crash. But
okay.
Yeah, so
he was positioned there appropriately, then, is what you're saying.
He might have been. I mean, you couldn't get any more timely. I mean, I think they said the feds were there within minutes of that plane going down. And
that's one of those ones that weird. Like it
that
seems pretty obvious, right? That was like subterfuge. Consider, once the tapes were released, right? Because they're talking about it, this payoff and giving it to Dorothy Hunt and stuff like that. What were you saying there, other JJ? What were you saying, sir?
I was just saying that's super strange. The timing, almost like they were waiting for it to happen.
Yeah,
no,
it is crazy. But yeah, with when you had Hunt and G. Gordon Liddy were the two main guys of the plumbers, and Liddy had decided, he was really gung-ho in what he wanted to do. He worked for the committee to reelect, and he forms a plan, and they called it the Gemstone Plan. And he, it's political sabotage. They're going to get prostitutes to drug some of the Dems at the Miami convention in '72. And, one of the things they were going to drug Jack Anderson with LSD, the reporter who was
Mormon.
A real pain in the ass with Nixon. And he comes and he presents it, and John Mitchell's kind of like flabbergasted. He's like, yeah, that's no. But John Dean was kind of like the go-between between Mitchell and Liddy. And he's like, he likes the way you're thinking, pull it back. It's too expensive, but let's see something else. And then later on, supposedly, we get to the DNC, but yeah, they never really could connect Nixon to who sent them in. And, you think about it, like the crazy thing of that group, the burglars and Liddy wasn't CIA. He was former FBI. Hunt was CIA. Jim McCord was CIA. Barker, all the other burglars were all CIA. Bernard Barker, Martinez, Gonzalez. I mean, Sturgis was organized crime and CIA. He was with Castro.
Are you implying to me that the CIA might actually just be criminals?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, they did try to kill Jack Anderson. Those unintelligent spooks. They're the Langley variety. They dosed his steering wheel with LSD, right? Trying to get him to wreck his car and die.
Yep. And then, I mean, the scoops he was getting, but then, he was a little, what's the word I want to use? He wasn't always on the up and up either. I mean, he was friends with Sturgis. His story later on was that he saw Sturgis at the, might have been Dulles, one of the airports in Washington, in and around the time of the break-in. But also, he was the one who kind of convinced Charles Radford, who was the Navy yeoman who had been stealing documents out of burn bags that were correspondence between Kissinger and Nixon, and to turn it over to him. And that's how Jack Anderson got stuff about the India, Pakistan, that whole situation. And Radford, I think in the end, didn't even get any jail time, but yeah, he was leaking to Anderson, and he was also giving the information to Thomas Moorer, who was the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was, Navy admiral, but he was like on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And meanwhile, like Nixon and them, they covered that up. I mean, I would have been more inclined to burn them for that, but that actually there was a whole write-up about that. James Rosen, the reporter who wrote about John Mitchell with the strongman, they released part of Nixon's grand jury testimony to it was a California grand jury in relation to Watergate. And there were certain things he told the prosecuting attorney. Is like, yeah, I don't think we want to go into that. And it was about because I mean, I give Nixon credit for that. I said at the same time, these are the same guys who are trying to take them out. I mean, you have the Joint Chiefs with the issue there that comes out towards the end of 1971. Like right before Christmas, actually, they literally had Radford, and then they had another. It was Robert Wielander, who was another Navy guy higher up. I think he was Radford's boss, and then it went up to Thomas Moorer, who was the Navy admiral. But no one really got in trouble. Like Nixon didn't want to screw up Moorer's career, like let it be a blight on his career. And of course, we're still in Vietnam at the time, so there's that aspect to it too. But
then Gerald Ford slides right into office with not really ever being elected.
Yep. And he had already done his job by helping to cover up, JFK and doctor some of the evidence there, and also apparently being an informant. He was supposedly giving info back to Hoover and.
He was Dulles's bitch.
Yeah, I mean they.
Well, yeah, I was about to say they put him wherever they wanted to, and they were going to put him right in the crosshairs, so that Nelson Rockefeller could be, who's right there, who's one of the main puppet. I oftentimes view the Rockefellers above the Dulles boys as far as these machinations go.
Yeah, it definitely. It was kind of like the Dulles brothers worked for them.
It seems to be, especially with their international interest, monetarily speaking, they were there making sure that the Rockefellers' interests were protected, be it Standard Oil or whatnot, especially in the South Pacific.
Well, I mean, they handled the whole thing with JFK plus the MK Ultra stuff. They were all over both investigations.
For sure.
Part of me wondered if, as I see this, the picture, that was the year Ford was a little too loose-lipped about certain things when he's what led to the the Rockefeller Commission, when he says about the CIA doing certain things, and he says this group of assembled journalists, we're off the record, right? Things like, and then he kind of
Right.
like whispers, assassinations, like, and
he's definitely not the brightest crayon in the box,
yeah, no, he was definitely not, 100% not. But yeah, I mean, 2 assassination attempts in what was it, like 2 weeks time or whatever? I mean,
Right.
that's insane. But
Oh, it's
yeah,
even crazier once you realize both of those gals are Manson girls.
Yep.
Right. Right.
One of them being Squeaky Fromm, the other one being Manson's childhood friend, apparently.
You mean process girls?
There you go, sir. They came in. They didn't come in with a process 45, but I think they believe they both had 38 specials.
Right.
Oh nope, disregard 44 right there. Charter Arms Bulldog.
Wow.
44, like Son of Sam.
Yep, the Charter Arms Bulldog revolver. Yes, sir.
Yep, same one.
I stand corrected. Now that was Sarah Jane Moore. Squeaky Fromm, I think, had blanks in her. No, let's see here. Moore tried to shoot President Ford with a 38 special revolver. Okay, so she also had in her possession, I guess. Sarah Jane Moore has been evaluated by Secret Service earlier in 1975. Typical. Forgot that detail. But agents concluded she posed no danger to the president. The 45-year-old was detained by police on an illegal handgun charge the day before the assassination attempts with a 44 caliber Charter Arms Bulldog and 113 rounds of ammo. So she went and got the 38 that night, apparently. I forgot that detail.
Yeah,
so that was September 22nd.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, right, was Squeaky Fromm?
Correct.
Both in California?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, they released her. She died. Oh, she died in September of last year.
Oh, wow.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, but there was an article that came out years ago out of Charleston, West Virginia, where a shop owner said that he remembered Charles Manson and her, and they were the same age, running in there together as children into his store to buy candy and whatnot.
Interesting.
So what's
wild stuff?
What's your thoughts on this whole Lansky situation? I didn't realize he's getting prosecuted, I guess, at the very same time all this water. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Watergate situation. A lot of ins, a lot of outs, a couple what have yous.
Yeah. I mean, this was, I think, wound up being the government's last shot at Lansky, because Lansky was one of those guys in the end. Like, you look at like the kind of the early kings of organized crime in the U.S., whether him, Luciano, Siegel, and Costello. Only Lansky and Costello kind of went the distance. Costello dies, I believe it was in 73, of a heart attack, and Lansky dies in 83. Luciano was dead in 62, heart attack on the way to meet a Hollywood producer, if I'm not mistaken, in Italy, where he'd been banished to. And of course, Bugsy Siegel, we're about to hit his 79th anniversary of his assassination. Lansky, at this point, they try to say that he was broke, which I will never buy that for as long as I live.
Right.
Guy that smart, I said he would never die broke.
No.
I said no matter what. He tries to go to Israel, and then when I guess someone reached out to Golda Meir and told her the story, she's like, gangsters? Nope, we don't want them here. And then, kicked them out. And because they actually used the scene in Godfather 2 with Hyman Roth based on Lansky, where he gets kicked out and then he gets taken out. Well, obviously that didn't happen with Lansky. Lansky just had that power that saw him through to die of, I think it was cancer or something like that. And he was, 78 years old. He was younger than he was definitely younger than Luciano. Luciano, I think, was like good 10. No, Luciano might have been 10 years older, I think, in age. But Lansky was the guy.
From my understanding, everything I've read, he never owned anything on paper.
Yeah, no,
he owned people that owned things on paper, but he didn't own things on paper.
That's the best way for any rich person to do it, though. Because then they don't own anything. You can't tie it to them.
Yeah. They said when he died, because I think at that point he had maybe 2 surviving kids. One, though, I think was like disabled. But he had a daughter, and they were like, oh, he's broke. There's nothing there. And one of his associates, a guy named Vincent Allo, his nickname was Jimmy Blue Eyes.
Jimmy Blue Eyes. His name was Vincent Allo, but his nickname was Jimmy Blue Eyes.
Jimmy Blue Eyes. And in The Godfather 2, Dominic Chianese, junior soprano, played Johnny Ola. Johnny Ola was Vincent Allo, then Ola backwards is Allo. So he helped Lansky's daughter look through Lansky's place. And I believe the story was they found some valuable, they found money there. Like they found something there. But then they said the rest, they don't know. Some said he was worth $300 million when he died. And then others are like, nope, probably $300. And I'm like, no, I don't buy that.
No, I don't either.
He was a very smart guy. I don't believe that the Cuban Revolution bankrupted him. He still had interest in Vegas. A guy like that, they tell the story of like when he was younger and he went to buy either bread, food for his family. He was given like a small amount of money and he gambled on the way and he got taken, like a 3-card money, something. And then later on, he was determined never to be the loser. Like he was supposedly, he got a little bit of his gangland education from Arnold Rothstein. And, and there's another death that's still debatable on, everyone said,
that's De Niro's character in Casino, right?
No, different guy. So
that's Ace Rothstein. My apologies.
Yeah, that was, Ace Rothstein's based on Lefty Rosenthal. And
that's right.
But another guy who knew was very good about knowing the odds and not to be a sucker. Because in Lefty Rosenthal's case, he talks about going to, I think it was Wrigley Field, and watching guys bet on certain things during a game, and then him basically being cleaned out when he thought he knew the angles, and he did. Lansky, it was Arnold Rothstein who helped fix the 1919 World Series. That's
right.
Yeah,
the Black Sox or whatever.
Yep.
That's right. Isn't that Erica Kirk's family?
That's who she worked. Her family worked for.
Yeah, her family worked for them, right, in Chicago,
laundering money. Yeah, laundering money for him.
So he came up with Lansky, huh? Or he was a mentor. He was a mentor to Lansky, huh?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said he got killed because he welched on a debt. I don't think so. I read that he was getting involved in the drug rackets, and that might have been, it was a territorial dispute. I think Doug Valentine got into that in The Strength of the Wolf, his 2 books about the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, Bureau of Narcotics, Dangerous Drugs, DEA, that whole history. I think he speculated on that, and
that was a very big thing there at the time of Prohibition. There was a lot of hands in the Muppet pot, so to speak. There, yeah, I like this example is how folks pretend like this is the only time sports gambling or sports games have ever been fixed. When I say folks, I mean the type of folks like our channel. Good to see a fucking Muppet. Keep propagating your ball washing CIA propaganda there, sir. You're late, by the way. But folks do pretend like this is, go tell your other Langley Muppets to go fuck themselves, RR.
No kidding. Fucking slacking on the job, though, man.
Yeah, he's always like, but they were fighting communism. That's always his excuse for shit, too. I'm like, why am I surrounded by communists?
Yeah, we've got more communists than we've ever had before. So,
right, you guys lost that battle, RR. Throw in the towel, buddy.
Even if that's what they were doing, which, fine, okay, they failed. So what?
If you say so, right?
Right.
If you say that's what they were doing, that's always the claim, though, right? Now it's it's kind of obviously evolved over the years to, we're fighting terrorists.
I mean, I think they were, but I also think that they were also funding it at the same time.
I think they were the ones, they were pretending like they're fighting it while perpetrating it seems. Because again, the Rockefellers are largely the ones financing a lot of even the not just here in America, they're financing a lot of the communist efforts over in Europe.
Right.
They're not the only ones. You know, Soros is not the only one, right?
Right. I mean, this is the classic, you know, control the narrative and counter narrative, you know.
I think so, yeah.
Because that's the only way to guarantee an outcome that you're going to be able to win no matter what. And that's exactly how they keep winning.
I mean,
they made a movie about this one. It was a pretty good movie. What were you saying, sir? Go ahead.
Oh no, 8 Men Out was a
8 Men Out. There we go.
Even though there's been like, you know, questions about the book about it, whether all of it was, you know, 100% true. I'm like, you know, when you look at why would these guys who in the end kind of got gypped in terms of the money they supposedly got, I mean, they got cheated by the gamblers. How cheap Comiskey was, the owner of you know, the White Sox. They knew early on. I mean, there was, you know, that Comiskey approached Van Johnson, who was the commissioner, I believe, for the American League at the time, and they wouldn't listen to him. Him and Comiskey were once friends, and then they kind of were bitter enemies. Joe
so there was some politics behind the situation, because there's no way, like, I mean, we've seen so many other sports scandals since then, but you know, this is often like, oh, that was the only time they fixed the game.
Yep. Yeah, and they actually, well, they said they only kind of heard about this because there was a decent amount of time, despite the speculation by certain people that it wasn't on the up and up. It didn't happen where they got indicted for, it was like almost a year or whatnot, or maybe even there was like another season that I think got played. And then there was actually other people who got in trouble for throwing games or whatever. Like, I think MLB tried to do its best to keep this from becoming something that could have killed the league. And, you know, there was.
Ooh, it didn't do well at the box office.
No, I mean, what's his name? Does what was John Sayles, who played one of the reporters? You know, he directed this. Yeah, he's not known for movies that are like box office smashes, but I said the guy makes good movies.
I enjoyed the film. I thought they told the story pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Jackson in the end, who couldn't read or write, but was a hell of a ball player. Like in the end, all he did was take money. Like he didn't. They couldn't find his stats as being someone who definitely threw the game the way some of these pitchers did, like Lefty Williams and Eddie Seacott, who won like 29 games up until that point. But one of the things that happened was confessions between Seacott and Jackson disappeared during, disappeared out of, I think, I don't know if it was prosecutors. I mean, but literally they couldn't find it during the trial. Later on, I think they turned up in one of the lawyers' offices or whatnot, but years later, whether threats were made. I mean, they said Lefty Williams bullied Jackson. One guy, Buck Weaver, only knew about it. He was a guy who wanted to win, and he had nothing to do with it in the end. But I mean, great story. But yeah, that's another one of those conspiracies. And I mean, let's face it, there's still every year there's something new, whether it be the thing with basketball with these guys with DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever the fantasy gambling site is.
It's getting out of control. I mean, they have all these scandals going with college athletes right now. Yeah. That one that quarterback got a right. He won an injunction to play football despite gambling all sorts of shit on his own team. Pete Rose got banned from baseball for doing that shit.
Yep. Well, meanwhile, with Crazy. That, they just did, what was it, last year? It was right not that long after Rose died is when Rob Manfred, the commissioner, basically said that Rose and Jackson would be able to be considered for the Hall of Fame in 2028. So since they're gone anyway, and because again, it should relate to your statistics. I mean, Pete Rose, I think, is still the all-time hits leader. Like, I don't think that's been.
Yeah, I don't think it's not even close.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
I mean, meanwhile, they're still dealing with stuff because let's face it, the Ohtani thing. Ohtani was the one who gambled. It wasn't his.
It wasn't his trainer. Exactly. That was all ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. No. Well, MLB wanted to squash that because MLB is making a lot of money off Ohtani. And you don't want to kill the golden goose, so you're like, oh no, it's the interpreter,
It's even with a guy like Ohtani, who obviously hits over 300 every year. You know, it's stupid to look at how many hits you would have to beat Pete Rose.
Yeah, I mean, Rose played for he was a player coach at one point.
Yeah, he was playing there in Cincinnati into the 80s. I think he was maybe 63 or something like that. Yeah, 63 to 86.
Yeah, it's a hell of a career. I mean, it was only 3 years later when the gambling story came out, and there's always speculation on that, whether he actually bet against them when he was betting. I mean, I think there was
like you were saying with the White Sox or the Black Sox, it seemed very political, right? What was going on there?
Yep. Yeah. Well, you never want to make anything. You don't want anything that's going to look bad for the sport, but again, he could have been the scapegoat, kind of like when they talk about with the NBA going back only a few years later than Rose, when you had what came out about Jordan and Charles Barkley and
right.
And again, I mean, I've been listened to a bunch of podcasts where they say they think Jordan's thing was a lot deeper than anyone ever knew, and that's what
I was going to say for sure. His dad gets murked around that same time.
Yeah, such weird stuff. And then,
have you guys seen that? There's the enhanced league now.
I did see that, dude. I did see that.
Which I love the idea, but I think it's kind of interesting. There's going to be a new type of sports to bet on, which for a fact this is going to be corrupted, just like anything else, just like the rest of this.
Dude, dude, they were betting on whether or not the IPO of SpaceX was going to be over a certain valuation or not. You can bet on literally everything now, I feel like.
The best thing I've ever seen was it was a video of two guys who had a $100 bet that if they called the gambling addiction hotline, that one of them bet that it would be a woman that answered, the other one bet that it was a man. Funniest bet I've ever heard.
They're right. They definitely have a problem. But hold that thought. I want to thank both of you gents for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD Phil as our guest and my co-pilot there, other JJ. I see you out there trying to out JJ me, sir. I'll have none of that, but I appreciate you.
I can't.
And folks at the interwebs, thanks for joining us here tonight. We'll take a quick intermission. Yeah.
Now, she's reporting her neighbor, who's ex-Catholic, by her demand, and let her close to talk to. Well, she doesn't know what to do. She says we shop her for Colleyville. Says she hates me ever since I arrived. Says I'm not allowed to go on her. We got to a beach challenging in court. That I would not be an occupant of an assembly hall in her state. They're there to say that she's having fun. Not with yet this policy. Let's leave her say she's moved in. And that she just, she don't want the challenge. Here we go. She plays with Pittsburgh Steelers. She wants no Bowling Green, Ohio. That's bad luck, but that she wants someone else. Here we go. Here we go. Now she says she hates it. She's got a grudge for 27 years. She's like it, she'll say die. And she won't let go of the pages. Here we go. She says she doesn't take this liquor. She says the word hate every day. I've never been in a dwelling. Who knows? She's pretty low. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh
man,
we back? Is this thing on?
Yeah.
There's something strangely here we go. There's something strangely poetic about that man's lunacy, but
man, our channel really let himself go, man.
Dude, I think you might have a diabetes problem, sir.
Well, you're gonna get a little wide when you're sucking off the agency all the time. Sometimes you got to learn to spit instead of swallow.
Right.
For sure.
Oh, fucking funny.
To that point, I'm trying to. Well, I appreciate we got ourselves a super tip there. I appreciate that, ma'am. I'm trying to get this to play right now on the screen for us. Illuminated Journey. Thank you, ma'am. We got ourselves a laser tag Ted voice. Did that play? I can't see it from the screen. Is that not playing on the screen?
Nope.
No. Well, I'll get it. You keep going. I'll work on this. The sports gambling thing, is getting so aggressive again that it's not just that you can gamble. The guys exchanging a couple bucks, gambling on whether or not they can. If it's a male or female that answers the fucking phone, which is that's depraved.
I think that's hilarious. I think
dude,
that's
all this Kalshi stuff, dude. Like I saw millions of dollars getting bet on World Cup stuff. I mean, you can bet on whether or not folks are getting bombed, whether or not aliens are gonna be disclosed here on. This is kind of disclosure day, right?
Right.
With the new disclosure film by Steven Spielberg, I have to imagine that somehow was involved in the release of whatever the hell this is with these damn alien pictures. I'm trying to find it right now. From Donald Trump.
Right.
Obviously that's the first thing I saw when I woke up this morning was, oh, that's not it. My bad. My apology. That's not the right one.
Seems legit to me, man.
I would say it would be a better one, better disclosure, right? No, this obviously this was posted everywhere, right? And I really couldn't find the source of it.
That is weird stuff, man. I mean, who knows if that's real? Yeah, might be, might not be. I mean, I don't know. It is definitely true that things have advanced far enough as far as technology goes that they could fake something like this. Now, my personal opinion is that the whole alien thing is a huge distraction. It's nonsense. Like, why are they disclosing now? And also, why is Spielberg releasing Disclosure Day? And then they're also talking about aliens and all of this stuff. Like, I believed in aliens.
That's what I'm saying. It's all a little too convenient, right?
Yeah, it's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And if aliens do exist, in my opinion, they're most likely interdimensional demons or something along those lines. They're not our friends. They're not here to enter us into the intergalactic federation or whatever. Like, get out of here with that. So
they're here to help. They're the aliens. They're here to help. They're the benevolent ones.
I just remember seeing, what was it? One of the documentaries with, what's his name? Stephen Greer, where he got all like choked up and started crying. And I was like, Jesus.
Oh, dude. I mean, you're a fan of that Hidden in Plain Sight show, and when they were talking about Stephen Greer and his gay dating app stuff, I was like, that's probably real. I suspect that's probably real.
I think a lot of those guys who are, Greer and some of those other guys are very much compromised, and I mean, you have the Mirage Men types, but you also have ones that are definite con artists. You obviously have the Corey Goods of the world, but then again, you did have believers. Like, I think, David Wilcock was a believer.
David Wilcock was definitely a believer.
He got way too taken into things, and basically, I think
useful idiots.
He fucked up his own mind. I mean, really, in the end, and I mean, he got conned between the original. What was it? The one guy, Pete Peterson, the one who got him into Stavati, and then the other guy, Chris Escar, who runs Stavati. Corey Good. You get all these guys, and it's just like, you couldn't just for 2 seconds just stop and think, where this sounds way too good to be true. And like, they all seem like, I'm sure at some point some of these people seem really smart, but then after a while you're like, holy shit, this is batshit insane. Like, this is when they had I'm gonna reference Laser Ted on this one.
Watch out for them lasers, sir.
One of the chapters in Errol Morris's Wilderness of Error about the Jeffrey McDonald case talks about gun and it's called Batshit Crazy. And I said, that's how I feel about some of this. And I believe, in the possibility of the secret space program, but not what's uttered by someone like a Corey Good and some of these other people. And in terms of aliens, I think, so right before COVID, I think there was History Channel had Project Blue Book, that was on for like 2 seasons, and talking about the program and Dr. Alan Hynek and you know, some of these guys. And they one of the episodes referenced Hynek's work as a consultant on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
There you go.
Interesting.
And talking about how he went from being a skeptic, like a Scully, you know, Scully in the X-Files, to debunk the stories, and that he eventually came to believe it, where he would be arguing with guys like Carl Sagan and stuff like that about extraterrestrial life and all these other things. But I think, first of all, I think a lot of these abductions are government, you know, mind control operations. You know, like
it's a way to cover up mind control, 100%.
Yep, and I believe, I'm more inclined to believe that aliens are something that is not. They're not good. They're not a good thing for us. You know, they're something that's, you know, it's.
And they're not here to stop nuclear war and to save the environment.
Nope.
Human animal hybrids. I mean, honestly, I think they are animal human hybrids, just like some horrific sort of like ungodly human experimentation has been taking place. At least that's what makes sense to me. So
that's a narrative that's getting pushed to now too, right? With that Jason Giorgiani. I'm definitely not gonna let that Nazi Satanist fucker Muppet LJJ me, that son of a bitch. But he's the one who's he seeded that idea. He incepted that idea into the you know, the mindset and all the discussion that 23andMe was tracking, CIA was tracking 23andMe alien hybrids, and now just like the Hal Puthoff and the Scientologist Hal Puthoff and from CIA's, you know, remote viewing programs and SRI, he came out and said there's 4 different, you know, alien breeds. Now that's always somehow that's fact, right? And then, you know, these ideas are just getting inserted by these Muppets, and somehow they're getting repeated ad nauseum in their fact.
Right.
It's weird. We live in weird times.
Very weird. But I believed in aliens until the government told me they exist. You know, like now I just want nothing to do with it. Although I still do like the X-Files, and also I think my favorite alien movies, probably The Fourth Kind. Absolutely phenomenal movie.
I've never heard of that.
Great movie. We should do a review of it. It's so good. It's actually a movie that genuinely scared me because of how well it was made. Very well done.
Who made this?
I mean, Hollywood. I don't know. I've never looked into it, if I'm being honest.
All right.
Well, a lot of people were saying with the Disclosure movie that they were saying it had parallels to that movie, The Arrival, with Charlie Sheen. That was like 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, dude, coked up Charlie Sheen.
Yep, and you know, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Hollywood. I mean, in terms of originality, they're constantly, you know, just plagiarizing, stealing ideas. I mean, that's how you have Deep Impact and Armageddon in the same year, and you know, multiple Christopher Columbus movies. You know, like there's no originality at this point. But I actually just had that conversation with Sabrina earlier today about the lack of any sort of, you know, authenticity in Hollywood movies. Everything just seems to be seen it, done it, everything in between. And
well, I'm just glad we get more Bob Lazar stories and cartoons about Bob Lazar. It's part of Disclosure. I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I don't know what's up with this photo. I mean, like running it through AI generators, it definitely claims to be not AI, which I don't know, man. It's definitely like Photoshop.
Yeah.
Something's going on here, right? And especially with this vampire-looking guy right here.
Right. Well,
gal,
that's
could be
the thing.
a handsome gal.
Maybe they are vampires or just goth people. I don't know, dude.
Right. So I ran the obvious AI ones through the same detectors, and they detected that as being AI, right? Like this one with the Monster drink, right?
Right.
I guess Monster's a UFC sponsor.
So what are people claiming? Because
when I asked Grok, I'm trying to find the source of it. It keeps telling me that it's a picture from King Charles' visit, and it's the U.S. Army's Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps, which you know. It's just red uniforms, right? I guess that's the only thing that it's making that comparison from. I don't know.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, because these guys are just dressed in, like, you know, like the Redcoats or some shit, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, that's probably some weird, creepy cult.
Yeah, but this is definitely not the individuals or the uniform we see in there. But I'm saying, was one of those pictures taken and photoshopped? I don't know. The closest I could get to was saying, I found a post saying, or I'm going through AIs trying to find the source of it. Right, was Reddit, but this was 11 hours ago, and this was posted on I don't know whatever TrueAnon is. I'm not too familiar with TrueAnon, but I've heard of it. But this was posted on Twixter before that, so I couldn't find the source of it. Ultimately speaking,
odd, very odd.
Not the B claims it came from Reddit, but again, that Reddit link is older than the stuff on Twixter. So this is not what I had in mind when talking about White Boy Summer.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. It's just a creepy thing to have suddenly appear out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Where no one knows quite the authenticity of it, where it came from.
Right. That is.
And again, it's on the same day they're releasing the latest Spielberg movie, right? Like, if you think about it, Spielberg is the one telling us, and then he's the one inserting a lot of these ideas around aliens. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, and E.T. I mean,
E.T.
Yeah.
He's done a variety of these. Did he do War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Yeah.
He ran super fast in that one. Tom Cruise did, not And again, I don't know how closely related the two are, but Les Wexner and Spielberg were close associates, right? So
mega group, maybe.
Yeah, mega group. So it begs belief there that they don't know each other.
Right.
Epstein and Spielberg, that is, right?
Interesting.
I mean, you know what? Wouldn't surprise. I mean, here's another angle, possibly through who's to say one of what was it, Casey Wasserman? You know, Spielberg came up on the MCA, like basically had a bungalow on the lot of MCA Universal, and became kind of the fair-haired prodigy of Sid Sheinberg, who was one of the heads of MCA, but the ultimate head was Lou Wasserman. Lou Wasserman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Definitely mobbed up. You know, he was from Cleveland. His buddy Jules Stein, I believe, was Chicago. And we've talked about MCA later in the 80s with the mob guys. You had Gambinos there. You had Robert Booth Nichols. Like, you had all these connections. I mean,
for sure.
Definite possibility that, you know, not even a 6 degree of separation, might have been more like 1 or 2 for Spielberg to be connected to an Epstein, you know? So, but maybe he's better at hiding it. You know, some of these guys are a little bit more discreet than a Bill Gates or even a Woody Allen, or, you know, even though it seems like it might have been more Soon Yi than Woody in terms of,
right.
You know,
she seems to be into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Super odd that she sent him so many emails.
Right.
Very graphic, you know?
Yeah.
Like the fact that he married her and they have stayed together this entire time is insane.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of begs the question of, like, you know, is that the connecting principle in their relationship? Is that why they're together?
I would not be surprised. I mean, these people are genuinely sick, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's their commonality for how they're able to make their relationship work, if that were to come out, I would not be surprised. I'd be like, well, yeah, that makes sense. They're both fucked in the head.
Right.
Well, you even think of, you know, Mia Farrow, like in the end, like she was a teenager when she went it with Sinatra, and, you know, like there's weird
Did you ever
stuff
hear
on that angle too.
Ever hear the phone call where she's talking to Woody about the abuse and everything? Like, it's chilling, super chilling. I'm not sure like when it came out. Pretty sure it was the early 90s or something. But yeah, Mia Farrow's talking to Woody Allen about abusing their kids, and it is some of the most heartbreaking like audio I've ever heard.
You know, once again, it goes to that, you know, because how much people, talk about Woody Allen's genius. That sort of when you're brilliant, but you're also, there's an aberration in your mind. Like we were talking about on, mentioned a couple times, George Hodel, the one, the Black Dahlia suspect. And he was, a genius with IQ, a piano prodigy.
Right.
And then in a Woody Allen reference, George Hodel eventually stood trial for the rape of his daughter, Tamar.
Right.
Who later on became good friends with Michelle Phillips, the Mamas and Papas. And another unfortunate incest connection because Michelle Phillips was with John Phillips, who slept with his daughter Mackenzie for many, many years. But to be honest, I always subscribe to the comedian Dennis Miller's theory about pedophiles, that if you are that wounded in the mind, if you are that fucked in the head where you have to do that,
right,
kill yourself. Like, take one for the team, do the right thing, just don't.
I agree.
Don't put your hurt on someone else, and that's just, you can't help these people. Like that's the problem. You cannot
100%.
help someone who crosses that moral Rubicon. And
100%.
I don't disagree, sir. The wood chipper seems to be an appropriate response as well.
Feet first. Feet first. And I am of the mind that everyone deserves somebody. And if, as long as you can see somebody who is willing to work on their life, I believe, you should try to give them a chance, as long as it doesn't hurt yourself or your loved ones around you. But all of those rules go right out the fucking window when it comes to pedophilia.
Yep.
Waste of space. I mean, I think
unless
we should
your name's
study
Jeffrey
them.
Epstein, sir. Unless your name's Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. And then you just get to run the world for some reason.
Apparently.
Like no wonder why everything is so fucked if that's the people in charge.
I agree, dude. I totally agree, dude, because that seems to be one of the biggest issues present in our society is those are the folks in charge.
Right, exactly. It's like you can't put those people in charge and expect everything to come out just fine. Like get out of here.
What are they going to police themselves, dude?
Right. I mean, we should study these people. I think we should learn as much as we possibly can about this condition. But I mean, there's a certain point where they just become a drain.
I guess in a certain respect, it probably is a condition.
I think it's a birth defect, honestly. If I'm being 100% honest, I do think a certain amount of it is birth defect. Although I do believe that somebody can become, like they can train their mind to become attracted to that through certain types of exposure to pornography and, abuse themselves and stuff. Like I think they can be. I actually believe that most of them are genuinely born that way. But I do believe that they can be created also.
Well, and especially the sick aspects of what pornography has become and the fact that you have such different genre. I mean, you're getting to the point where it's like, it's not good. And even the Hollywood thing, like they were trying to normalize in certain movies. There was Kevin Bacon in a movie called The Woodsman, where he's a pedophile. And there was Jackie Earle Haley's character in Little Children. And they're like, oh, but he doesn't want to be this way. And it's like, well, the movie sanitized his character from the book. In the book, not only is he a pedophile, he's a child killer.
I've never heard of this film, but he did it with his cousin Kira Sedgwick. I mean, his wife.
Dude, I mean, this kind of stuff, these kinds of movies pop up a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
Pretty Baby with Brooke Shields. Like, dude, that is so.
Oh, dude, that one is, dude. Ever since I can tell you when I remember when I learned about that, dude, years ago, because I was like, what in the actual fuck, dude?
Yeah, dude.
And it's so disturbing. I often misquote it as her being 13. I think she was 10.
Yeah, she's way too young. And to be honest, so here's a weird parallel. So she's in the Blue Lagoon, and again, pretty young for that too. And then when there's a remake of that, it's Mila Jovovich, and there's questions about her.
Yes.
In some of the
Oh, no
movies
shit.
she's in.
Speaking of The Fourth Kind,
I was about to say she's in The Fourth Kind, right?
Yeah.
There's, I mean, when some of the roles she got for her age, and one of them is a movie I like, Cuffs, with Christian Slater. She is way too young to be, you know.
Right.
How old is she in that film?
They said she was only like, I mean, she might have been 16, I think, when she was in
shit.
that movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's kind of dancing around her underwear in that film, isn't she?
Yeah.
There's certain things they totally normalized, and you know, just, I mean, it's
she's
not.
Ukrainian.
Mhm.
She's Ukrainian.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes, she is.
Yep. Yeah, there's
I
didn't
wonder
know
how
that.
she got here. Probably probably illegally.
I didn't know she was married to Paul Anderson.
Well, I mean, think about it. These relationships in Hollywood is like the modern royalty, right? Like they're figureheads.
Yeah, I feel like
and so there's going to be marriages and relationships of convenience and business, you know,
weird
like,
stuff.
Mm-hmm. People are going to be like,
no, that's right. He did the Resident Evils. I knew that name.
The first one's
that's
good.
What she's
the rest
known
of
for,
like,
right?
Yeah, that's like her big
pretty much,
thing.
yeah. Her first like big role was Dazed and Confused. That was like one of her.
I was about to say, I thought that was her first role. Was Dazed and Confused. Yeah, she would have been what? Born in 75. So what is that? She's probably what, 17?
Think so, yeah.
Somewhere.
At age 15, she was cast as leading the Return of the Blue Lagoon.
Yep.
Isn't that what Brooke Shields was in, the Blue Lagoon?
Yeah, she was in the Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon was 1980, and then the remake was 91.
And that's the one that the two kids are stranded on the island, right?
Yep.
She's playing an adult in
weird.
Cuffs, dude. She's only 16 years old, huh?
Yeah. She's definitely too young for that. But
yeah,
I mean, even on Married with Children, she was in an episode of Married with Children. She's a foreign exchange student and living with, you know, the Bundys. And at one point they show her and she learns to kind of flaunt her looks, because first she's kind of like quiet and, you know, kind of like not homely, but just very like plain. And then Christina Applegate, you know, Kelly convinces her to kind of, you know, let her hair down. And next thing you know, she's like way too good looking for, it's like at the time 14. You know, like there are certain things I was like, you know,
Robot Chicken, huh?
Yeah.
Except Green. Dude, Robot Chicken. So are you guys aware of the Mr. Bubbles case that Ralph Underwager testified in Australia? It was like this huge.
I think I've heard of Mr.
Bubbles.
Yeah, Mr. Bubbles. Is lots of kids were sexually abused. Let's see if I can find something real quick. But the point of me bringing it up is that
I don't think it's
Chicken,
the actual soap company, is it, Mr.
No.
Bubbles?
No. It's it was a sexual abuse case in Australia in the 90s, I believe. But Robot Chicken did a sketch of Mr. Bubbles, and it's one of the most horrific things I've ever seen. I think it also kind of lends credibility to the fact that, you know, Seth Green has been called out as a pedophile many times. Let's see.
Yeah, I was about to say, just the name Robot Chicken seems to have some dark connotations.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. But the fact that Ralph Underwager would testify on behalf of anybody, like, I don't want to ever be in a position where that guy is like testifying on behalf of me, you know? So,
right.
So the Mr. Bubbles case refers to a series of child sexual abuse allegations against a daycare center in the 1990s, particularly involving a man named Raymond Bucky at the McMartin preschool. The case became one of the longest and most expensive trials in U.S. history. We should all know about that. The Mr. Bubbles case is associated with the McMartin preschool, where allegations of child sex, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. The case is notable for its extreme or extensive legal proceedings. Let's see.
Did it run as long as McMartin? Because McMartin basically wound up going, I think, like 8 years by the time
10
they
years.
last.
It was 10 years by the time they were done.
86 to 92 for McMartin, I think.
84,
think so. 84 to 92.
Yeah.
84 to 92.
84 to 92. Yep. Because, Ray Bucky, his case was the last one, of that.
Right.
Everybody else,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, because it was the previous DA before, Charles Manson's friend was DA.
Yep.
Ira Reiner.
Yep, Ira Reiner, yep.
Talk about, some miscarriage of justice, New elections happen, people come in and then just start dropping charges and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, that the McMartin case gets me.
That's kind of how that went down, though, right? Because the initial DA there in October of '84, he said that his first press conference says that it's about child pornography.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the root of the circumstances are.
Most of the people in the McMartin case, they didn't have charges dropped. Most, like with Ray Bucky, his charges, it was a hung jury, so they couldn't determine him being guilty of committing these acts was never the question. It was the question of how extensive it was, which is what caused the jury to be a hung jury. So him being guilty of committing these acts was never the question for any of the jurors. They were in 100% agreement on that. But because they were a hung jury, they had to dismiss the case. And then initially when charges were first brought against everyone, there were 7 people arrested, and the DA announced that there were likely to be more arrests and more charges brought, but everyone came in and had all of their charges dropped against them. So they were just dismissed out of nowhere. So it's like,
it seemed like Reiner did a good job making it a circus.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it was, they indicted, I mean, I know they went after, it was Virginia McMartin, Peggy Bucky,
right.
the daughter, I think it was Ray Bucky's sister, in addition to Ray. And some of the teachers' assistants, whatever. Like, I mean, it was pretty much almost everybody who worked in McMartin, I think.
Yeah, it was all 7 employees. Were the initial arrests, largely the family. So, absolutely wild. Let's see. I'm looking for that, Mr. Bubbles. Let's see.
Dude, this was one of the first movie I remember seeing Seth Green in, Airborne. I played soccer with a dude in high school. He thought he was the main character from this film. He dressed just like him, dude, with rollerblade to practice and shit. Like, hey, buddy, you're not. This is an Airborne. You're not. He wore his hair the same way, dude.
Right.
Pretty sure he tried to tell us to call him Mitch. We're like, your name's not Mitch, buddy. We're not doing it.
It was Jack Black's first movie too.
Jack Black's in here. Yep. I was about to say, Jack. We got a couple debuts in here.
Yeah. Well,
it was a Cincinnati-based film, so obviously it's the rollerblading culture stuck strong there.
The star of it wound up retiring. I think became like a real estate agent or something like that.
Oh yeah, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. He's not as cool as his old Palm Beach Pete. He's got his own Wikipedia page.
Let's see. Okay, let me pull up this robot chicken thing real quick because this is absolutely wild that they ever did this.
Well, that was the root of a lot of Isaac Cappy's claims, right? Was around Seth Green and his
Tom Hanks
proclivities.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Isaac Cappy literally came out and dropped the hammer, and then they dropped him like a hammer.
I mean, and we do see that again. There is a long kind of like, how do you finance a film like this in Hollywood with Brooke Shields, right?
Right.
How do you like
Carradine? Brooke Shields. I was thinking of Demi Moore.
She's I think she's 11 when they did the filming.
Right.
So 78 it came out. Yeah, April 5th of 78.
Prepubescent,
Yeah, dude. She's
this is the same time she posed for Playboy. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That was in conjunction with that film, right?
Yeah, it was around the same time. And
she
then
plays a child prostitute, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
that's
she does
how do you get
she does this in another movie,
you know what I mean? Like
too.
you had, like the idea that this film is even financed and the fact they put this child in it, like it exhibits a culture that seems to be far more accepted than most folks in pop, you know, in polite society want to admit.
Right.
The defendant is charged with the crime of bathing with thousands of naked children since 1961. How do you plead, Mr. Bubble? 100% not guilty, Your Honor.
So it's the mascot from the company, Mr. Bubbles, right?
Spit out of context.
You also told children, and this is a direct.
So that's the joke, but this is actual court transcript from the real case.
I worked my way into all their crap.
I see. They did a little parody of it, huh?
Right. Which is insane.
Find Mr. Bubble guilty on all counts.
But who will bathe the children?
Who will bathe the children? You sick fucks. Like, it's absolutely wild.
In the use of chicken hunters or whatnot, you know what I mean? With the naming your show Robot Chicken, it's just
right.
I don't know. Always struck me as a bit odd. Of course, that's in hindsight, right? That's after the claims of Cappy, right?
Right.
So it's in that context of such.
I always think of Eye of the Chicken Hawk, you know, because that always just comes to mind. Simon Devy's amazing work. Let's see. So in the private chat, I sent a link. I found a link to the actual case.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm familiar with this case. I definitely hadn't seen that clip before. I appreciate that, sir.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird one. But the reason I know about it is because of the false memory stuff. Because Ralph Underwager,
they got involved in this, did they?
Ralph Underwager testified on behalf of the defendant. So, you know, Ralph Underwager is like the largest.
He needs a new name, dude. That's a terrible name, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It really is. And his wife, what's interesting, him and his wife were both foundational in the creation of the FMSF, and without them, they wouldn't have been able to get up off the ground the way that they did. When he gave the interview to Padika magazine, his famous quote, which is a lot worse when you read the other quotes from it, like the famous one that everyone refers to, that's tame, like where pedophilia is supposed to be beneficial to children or whatever. That quote,
he really says that, huh?
Yeah. And that it's like God's will and stuff, like some sick shit. But
if you're a pedophile, dude, you know, I'm sure that I'm just trying.
I know it's normal. It's totally normal.
I've seen this pattern of behavior before. I feel like they try to convince themselves of these things in which to then, you know, part of their ego, godlike trips or whatever they go through with it. Because I think a lot of the pedophilia is rooted in occultism. I'm not saying it's all rooted in occultism, but I'm saying in large part.
It is. It's actually, so something I've talked about on my show a little bit is that the act of okay, let me back up just a little bit. So MK Ultra, the reason I focus on it is because this is actually their religion. This is what they practice. This is what they do. Now, MK Ultra is just the name that has been applied to it. It's like I use it because once I say it, everyone knows what I'm talking about. But these practices of creating disassociation are the goal of the people who practice this old world religion. It is Satanism in and of itself, or at least a part of genuine Satanism, because their idea is that by committing these highly, highly traumatic events, it is bringing the victims or the survivors close to a near-death experience, which is what disassociation is. And then by doing this, it actually brings them closer to God. So like this is an actual belief that they have. So from their perspective, people that do practice this stuff, as you were saying, in the occult style, the esoteric secret society ways, the people that are intentional about these things, the reason why MK Ultra happened to begin with is to get the science behind the rituals that they were performing. This is what they genuinely believe, that it's going to bring them closer to God. So they believe that they're doing a good thing to these kids. Like it's sick. It's not what I believe, but it's what they believe.
Right.
And once you start realizing that all of this stuff is just their religion, it starts to make a lot more sense. You start.
I think it did for me, for sure. For sure. Calling it their faith. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. And then they can also say things like, oh, you know, God bless America or whatever. And it's like, well, they're talking about their God, which, you know, Baal, Satan, Lucifer, you know, the process has all four or whatever, you know, Xenu, whoever you want to, you know, Tom Cruise.
Dude, Tom Cruise is up there, dude. He's got to be high up in the hierarchy of, he's got the power of Xenu, dude. He doesn't need the power of Grayskull, dude. He's got the power of Xenu.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, it's some really, really sick stuff. So it's, but it does make a lot more sense. And this is really important to understand, because then you understand exactly like why these trafficking rings are functioning the way that they are. Is because they need access to all these kids to be able to practice their religion. You know, it's really, really disappointing. But Ralph, because of the interview that he gave to Padika magazine, it was so like they've been able to explain away a lot of the behavior of the scientific advisory board members. But with this interview that he gave, they couldn't explain it away. It looked so terrible. They had to remove him from the False Memory Syndrome Foundation Scientific Advisory Board, but his wife, Helinda Wakefield, stayed on. So, I mean, he didn't go anywhere. He just was officially removed from the website.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Just taking off the masthead, so to speak, right? As far as being part of the board or something.
100%.
Yeah, that interview, dude, kind of reminds me, like, I think you start putting microphones in front of a lot of these Muppets' faces, they're going to start telling you some wild shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And they actually believe this shit,
Yeah, I think there's there's a lot of, even like the commercial podcast market that all these corporations and stuff are getting into. Like, I imagine a lot of folks don't want to even go on to like Joe Rogan's show because it's live for the fear of saying something completely off the fucking rocker.
Right.
Look what Hunter Biden did when they put a microphone in front of his face hole last year when he was talking about trying to run for president, and he starts telling everybody how to make crack. You know what I mean? These folks they're of a class who are not used to an edit button or edit functions, right? Like, they're highly, they got a lot of Muppets involved in the production of their image, right? From Hillary Clinton to even Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. These people, they exist in a world that I don't think anyone should ever be able to exist in. So the old adage is that, money is the root of all evil or whatever. It's not. It's the unfettered access to everything. It's the opportunity to be able to access things that no person should ever have access to, because once you're that rich, you're super far removed from normal society. You're surrounded by yes men and yes women and yes things now, I guess. And then, like, nobody's going to tell you no. Like, do you think anybody tells Bill Gates no? Other than, I guess, his ex-wife. I guess his ex-wife did, but beyond that, nobody's going to tell him no, or they're going to disappear. But then, so you're removed from normal society, and then you have the access to literally anything at at a phone call. So, once you do the drugs, once you do all the drinking, the parties, you have all the women or guys, whatever people are into, eventually you're going to get to a point where nothing is scratching those itches anymore. And you're going to have to start going after the taboo things. Like it's pure exposure. It's the fact that nobody stops them, and why would they?
Well, look at all these folks that, we see Elon Musk allegedly with his, his gremlins from his Starlink don't like to work too much in the heat. I can tell you that much.
Right.
But the we see that on a day that his company's on its initial public offering, his wealth is skyrocketed above even those folks that are more closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
The Larry Pages, the Sergey
Right.
Brins, even the Larry Ellisons down there, right?
All I see is a bunch of people that were funded by the CIA at one point or another. Or
Exactly, right? DARPA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Bezos and Zuck specifically, you got some
Right.
deep DARPA connections, right? With
right.
Bezos' grandfather was one of the founders of DARPA.
Yeah. Which, in my opinion, DARPA is literally just like the technology side of the CIA,
Oh, okay, really? All right. I tend to look at DARPA as like they somehow hover in a UFO style cloud over everybody or something.
Kind of. I mean, they are definitely, sci-fi, oriented, I would say, but they are different organizations. Like, they're not literally the same thing, but without the CIA, there would have never been a DARPA, is my point. So it's kind of like
I don't necessarily know that I know the history of DARPA precisely. Like how
they say it's the Pentagon, like what was it? Andy Jacobson written the Pentagon brain that was about DARPA, because it's supposed to be first there was ARPA, the
right.
Research Projects Agency, and DARPA is the defense parts. But then again, you could say it's Pentagon and can completely be run by the CIA, because let's face it, there's so much incestuous relationships with government agencies. And, just because, people think, only people, assets can be sheep dipped. I think agencies can too,
Agencies, corporations, individuals, groups of individuals, like this is a very broad ability for people to be sheep dipped, literally whatever they need things for.
Yeah, and I think the folks that we see on this list are born into it a lot, if not all of them, right? Like we see with with Jeff Bezos, who's his, not necessarily who's his daddy, but who's his mom's daddy, and what did he do?
Right.
His mom's daddy was Lawrence Preston Guys. He was a U.S. Atomic Agency official, and was definitely involved in the early machinations of ARPA and DARPA.
Right. Which, I mean, without these, or this organization, ARPA, turning into DARPA and stuff, we wouldn't have the internet. So this wouldn't be happening right now.
Well, without Al Gore, sir, we wouldn't have the internet.
Yeah, we also wouldn't have Man Bear Pig either, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think you told me about Man Bear Pig before, but I've already forgotten about it. And it seems like a good Al Gore joke to make too.
Being super serial.
Al Gore visits South Park to warn everybody about a creature named Man Bear Pig. And okay, the allegory for global warming. Yes. Okay, yeah, right. Man Bear Pig.
Mm-hmm.
I said I got to watch it. I've never really been big into the South Parks, but that one sounds like a good one.
I mean, I think ever since Trump has gotten back into office, I think South Park. Well, actually, they just signed like the most massive deal. They, being Trey Parker and Matt Stone, signed the most massive deal with Paramount.
I was just about to bring that up. Sir, are you my brain hole? I was about to bring that up with one of our guys in that top 5 list or top 10 list.
Larry Ellison. Well, actually, Larry Ellison bought it after the deal was made with them, but
comes in number 6.
Right. And that's what we know of.
Yeah. Well, again, when we look at this, like, there's no Rothschilds on here, dude. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? You mean to tell me there's not a Rothschild that's more wealthy than these guys?
Right. No. All the real, the real wealth is behind the scenes. We'll never hear about them. In fact, there's even some families, like, if I mentioned their name right now, this stream would get shut down. Period.
Well, don't do that, sir. Don't do that. Well, get shot by lasers, sir.
I have no interest in doing that. I want to keep talking with you guys. But the point is that these are the faces.
We don't have our laser shields up.
Right. Exactly. Mine's been on the fritz. But these people are they're figureheads. They're nobodies.
Right. Well, like you said, they've all benefited from vast quantities of taxpayer subsidies to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars to attain this wealth.
Right.
And again, they're born into it. You got even
Yes.
Bill Gates' grandfather, dude. I was watching an interview the other day for a clip of an interview with Howard Schultz over there at Starbucks. If it weren't for Bill Gates' father and Bill Gates, he never would have bought Starbucks.
Right. Well, and what's interesting about Bill Gates, not only does he come from a long line of eugenicists, also not a doctor.
What
just
you
like
mean
how
to tell me he's not an expert in immunizations
No,
and
no,
burner
no, no.
elements?
Nope.
No, just like you're not the vice president, he is not
That's
a
right,
doctor.
right.
So, you know, what's interesting about this is the way that Microsoft gained their position in the market and basically became the only people, you know, was literal mob tactics.
Right.
You know? Like he would send people with baseball bats to go like destroy the offices of his competition and shit. Like he is a thug. I
If
think
I'm not
he's,
mistaken, I think his mother worked in some capacity with IBM or had some relations there.
right.
Maybe
Yeah.
through her father, who was, I believe, part of the Federal Reserve Board
Right.
there in Seattle.
Right. Exactly. Which they all knew each other through the eugenics.
Yeah, they all know
society.
each other.
Right. Right.
They always all know each other, man. It's always the case, right?
Exactly, because it's all literal one organization. It's not a collection of different pedophile rings. It's all the same one. It's just different versions of it.
And you mean to tell me I don't disagree, sir. That's a solid analysis. You mean to tell me SpaceX is bigger than all of these other corporations
Honeywell?
now, dude?
Dude, they're bigger than Honeywell. Ooh, I
All
don't
of
know.
them combined, dude. All of
Yeah.
them combined.
Bigger than GE. Ooh.
I'm more willing to believe there's some tall whites on the East Lawn there talking with Trump, and that all of these corporations are somehow less valuable combined than SpaceX.
Dude, I'm willing to believe that those are like vampire aliens at this point. I don't know about this, man.
It's crazy, right? It seems like a wild graphic, right?
Right. I mean, here's the thing, though. SpaceX could, in theory, be for money laundering. I mean, they could literally just run,
dude.
The
I
organization.
think it's all money laundering, dude. I saw this one on Twitster today. Mattress company Sleep Number files for bankruptcy plans for $450 million sale. Well, yeah, dude. There's 9,000 plus independent mattress stores in America, and I'm not talking.
Yes.
I'm not talking your retailers of Targets and
you've
your other
never
department
seen
stores
anyone
and your
walk
Walmarts.
into one. You've
No,
never
dude.
seen anyone walk
The
into
lights
a
are
mattress
always
store.
on too, aren't they? That's a hell of an electric bill.
Right. It's absolutely wild. In fact, I'm pretty sure mattress stores are for money laundering because
and maybe they're shipping more shit with maybe they're shipping some more stuff there, but I feel like they're definitely laundering some cash through that, right?
They would have to be. They would absolutely have to be. I mean, within all fairness, I've only ever purchased 2 mattresses. One I did pay for.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I've crunched these numbers and they don't make any sense. And you're on the right track.
Right.
You're on the right track. Even accounting for all the illegal aliens in this nation and trying to account for the number of mattresses they may have purchased, it doesn't quite, dude. Every American would be purchasing like a mattress like every 18 months or some dumb shit to even keep these places in business.
Right.
I think the height of the mattresses was probably around the waterbed. The waterbed, that whole thing. But think about it, though. I mean, as you say it, all I can think of in my head is money in the mattresses. They
can be stuffing shit in the mattresses or the boxes, dude, for sure, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense. I mean, just to give a story that's kind of a play on that. I went years ago. This is before COVID kind of blew up. I went to see my best friend in Buffalo, and we were just driving around looking for a place to have breakfast. And we passed like some sort of like adult, sort of like video, but also like, toy store, whatnot. And my friend's like, yeah, no one ever goes in there. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's a front. Like, he's like, because it's almost always open, but he's like, they don't make any sales. And it's like, that's interesting enough.
No kidding. I mean,
wouldn't be the first time something like that's happened. We saw a large, substantial network of that activity around the Pizza Connection trial.
right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mobbed
good
up
drop on
families,
that.
heroin
Oh, yeah.
distribution, money laundering, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Which means all CIA, right? Because
Well,
that's
Oh,
who's
absolutely. Absolutely.
that's who's running all of this stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's the difference between, you know, you've got
Don't tell our channel that, sir.
well, it's up to him to listen to it, but you know,
That's his
earmuffs
consent,
are
right?
our earmuffs.
Earmuffs are.
But it's literally like we've got organized crime, because the mafia never went away, but also we have like street gangs, all this other stuff. But it's the difference between pirates and privateers, you know.
Sure.
The CIA being privateers, which is just state sanctioned piracy, you know.
That is accurate. That is exactly what it is.
Right.
One man's patriot is another man's terrorist.
Right. Exactly. It's this is like the whole deal with Wackenhut, you know. So it's like they were able to pull off some of the most horrific things. Like everyone in those types of circles knew that if you wanted something dirty done, you called Wackenhut, right?
Yeah, didn't they have like an entire non-sanctioned law enforcement operation running out of Florida
Yes,
at one
they
point in
did.
time?
Yes, they did. They called them Whacking Cops.
Whacking cops, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whacking cops.
They had the authority to investigate, spy upon, and stop Florida citizens.
Yeah, completely unabated with any sort of laws or.
But they're
basically
private
kind
citizens.
of roving hit squads. If you really,
Yes.
I imagine they perform some hit squad activities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, I am of the belief that Wackenhut is who killed Danny Casolaro.
Right. They may have killed Bill Colby too. I guess he's the
Right.
one that fired him.
Right. And as far as I know, there is, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but I know there's some connections to the Dulles brothers and Wackenhut, or at least like early versions of Wackenhut.
Well, George Wackenhut was the OSS guy, right? He goes back. He's a dude that goes back.
Right.
The network,
who's also tied to like George Hunter White from
George Hunter White, Midnight Climax.
Exactly.
So
okay, I mean, all of those guys are friends, you know.
Yeah, they all know each other.
Exactly.
And supposedly George Hunter White was too out there for even the CIA, because he was never officially CIA, but he was definitely Federal Bureau of Narcotics. I mean, this is a guy who dosed his own wife and watched her behind a two-way mirror have sex with other guys. Like I
was just reading something about him that during the OSS days, he strangled a Japanese spy in Calcutta, and he took a picture of the body and kept that photo hung up in his office. Like,
Jesus Christ.
He was a sick fuck.
Oh yeah. And I think they said, so after he passed, because I think it was like in the mid 70s, one of the places, because he was living in San Francisco, I think one of the places out there, like one of the institutions, got his papers.
Right.
You know, like, it's crazy stuff. I was always hoping, he passed before it happened, but Hank Albarelli, who wrote A Terrible Mistake, which had a good portion with George Hunter White, was going to write a book about George Hunter White. That was part of the projects he was working on before he passed. And I think it was going to be, called like Operation Midnight Climax.
No shit.
Yeah, he never got a chance to do it. Well, there was for a while they had advertised he was going to have kind of like a book that it was called Wormwood Exposed, that was going to be a counter argument to that Netflix docuseries Wormwood about Frank Olson's death, because he said, they got a lot of that wrong, and
no, they didn't.
Shocking that it's Netflix and they can manage to make propaganda. But
right.
Shocker. That's all they do.
They don't. They're not meant for that or nothing.
You know what's real quick, just about Netflix and all of these documentaries, like the Octopus and Chaos and Sons of Sam and all of these. I think it's so funny because they'll do like 4 parts, right? 4 to 6 part series, and then all of the episodes, excluding the last one, will be like, look at all these crazy things that they proved to be true. And then the very last episode will be like, but they're crazy, so don't listen to them.
right in your face, so they just Shyamalan twist you, dude.
Yeah, but if you
Maury Terry
believe
was
any
a
of this,
drunk.
you're dumb. Yeah, right. He was a drunk and he drove himself crazy.
My favorite part of one of those kind of documentaries, you know, the guy who made the Son of Sam one, Siemens did a documentary. One of his first pieces or works he ever did was there on the Staten Island one, the Cropsey.
Yep.
Right.
And you know, not only did he try to draw this, what initially drew my attention to that was he was trying to draw this line between urban legend and actual events, and then he kind of even throws the curveball at the end. It was all kind of more urban legend than actual events, even though you know, at one point in time he's investigating when he's doing he's talking to the primary investigator from you know, the NYPD there, and he's like, he didn't want to talk about the Satanism stuff on camera and has him turn it off. Well, that's I mean, obviously there's a lot more going on there. That's what I'm saying. And then he comes out with the conclusion of like, yeah, there's nothing. These are not the Muppets you're looking for. There's nothing to see.
I always find it funny. I've never seen the movie, but I've read enough about it that the first movie that the Weinstein brothers did.
Oh, Jeffrey Epstein's friend.
Had a movie called The Burning, and that was a slasher movie, and the slasher's name is Cropsey.
No shit.
Swear to God. That came out in 1981 because that was the film debut of, who was in it? Holly Hunter has a small role, Jason Alexander.
Interesting.
Fisher Stevens. I mean, there was a bunch of people who had like some sort of success in, you know, in box office later on, but yeah.
Isn't Fisher is he just he's not even a Jewish fellow, he's just an Anglo dude, right? Just a Brit, kind of a Anglo-Saxon white dude, right?
With the exception when he played an Indian guy in Short
That's
Circuit.
what I was about to say. They make him play an Indian guy in Short Circuit, dude. I used to think that dude was Indian until I saw him on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm like, wait a second, that dude's not Indian?
That was great. That was a great role, and It's Always Sunny, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a great – they have some great guest stars, yeah. I could have sworn he was Indian, dude. He played Ben Jabatuya, whatever that is there.
Yep.
Oh, I love the Short Circuit films. Oh, I guess he is Jewish. He is a Jewish kid.
He was in Blacklist. He had a good character.
Okay.
For the Blacklist, yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely not Indian though. Definitely not a Punjab fellow. He played one well. He did a good job in the convincing role, I guess, right?
Right.
He dated Michelle Pfeiffer, huh?
Yep.
Good for him.
Apparently he's married to the woman who did the.
Wouldn't think you'd be able to. You know, he just doesn't strike me as very. Must have a great personality,
right? His wife, I think, did the BB Files, that documentary that they tried.
Really?
Yeah, I saw once. I saw that name, Alexis Bloom. I'm like, yeah, she's the one who did the BB Files, because that was what's his name? Alex Gibney was the producer on that, and they couldn't get it shown anywhere. Like I found it.
Oh yeah, Alex Gibney. Okay, yeah.
I found it off of a like an Asian site. Watched it, saw that it was legitimate, and then I started posting it on Twitter for the better part of a year. And yet, some people could never see it. Like I sent it to people DM. They're like, I can't open it. And it was
it was banned on like in all of America.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that with that Vax documentary a number of years back, right?
Yeah.
It's wild that they can ban stuff, but you know, we often hear China's got like this security fucking protocol you can't get past, right? But like it seems like America's got that too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. But it's American, damn it.
I mean, it's a good documentary. I mean, they have it's about Netanyahu's corruption trial, the one that he keeps postponing. And at one point, you watch his questioning by the cops, and then you have Miriam Adelson being questioned, and she's like, if I say something, I'm dead. And meanwhile, that's considering her power.
Right.
And you know,
I was about to say she inherited her husband's wealth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think they had any kids, right? Do they have kids?
I don't think
that
so.
I'm aware of.
I think so.
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, meanwhile, it's like, you know, with Sheldon Adelson, he was big into the casinos. I mean, I read,
big time, right? He's the guy that put Steve Wynn on out there, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah. They at one point
they're huge. They're huge over in Singapore, I believe.
Well, I was about to say, I
other...
often wonder these casino interests, how much he's got over there in Macau, over there in China.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A lot.
Which, you know,
a lot.
Yeah, I think they all do. I think Steve Wynn does too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, casinos, I mean, let's face it, how many of those were money laundering vehicles? I mean, that's what the Italian mob and, obviously Lansky and guys like that were doing. I mean, Vegas, though, at one point went from being New York and Chicago and all these others, and then eventually was exclusively pretty much the Chicago outfit was, had their interests in Stardust and Desert. Desert Inn was Cleveland, but Stardust and
You must say, no doubt. That's right. He was the Cleveland guy there.
He was the guy who managed to literally remake himself as Mr. Vegas, because he was a murderer and he became I think they named one of the hospital wings in Vegas. But yeah, when someone asked him about his past, he got all all crotchety and is like, this was supposed to be about, not go into these things, and it's like,
kind of reminds me of Epstein's buddy Wexner. They got the hospital up there in Columbus, Ohio, Wexner Medical Center.
Right.
Well, that clip with Wexner where the lawyer goes and says, if you answer any more like that, I'm going to fucking kill you.
I love that part. I gotta find that clip. That part's great.
Yeah. As soon as you find that, send it to me. I have a great idea for it.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that was kind of everywhere on Twitter for like a day, but then it kind of just disappeared, right? After he had the congressional deposition, right? That's what that was from, right? They came to him, right? He wouldn't come to them. He's like, no, you come to Ohio, bitch.
Yeah. Well, and part of me wonders the reason why some of these guys aren't pushing guys like Wexner or pushing more on the Epstein thing. I don't know how involved Jim Jordan is, but I know Jim Jordan, they throw his name about something that happened when he was wasn't he like a wrestling coach or he was
I think he was the assistant coach there. They try to do a Sandusky thing with him, which the more I look at Sandusky, he may have been a fall guy and all that.
I've heard that. I've definitely heard it, but he was definitely involved. One of my favorite comedy bits is Daniel Tosh talking about Sandusky, and he's like, when he was being interviewed, and he's like, when someone asked him he attracted the kids, and he 15 seconds to go, and he's like, you don't wait that long, and you definitely don't.
Yeah, you don't. No, you don't do that. You also don't give him the Michael Jackson response of having the Culkin sandwich. He's like, I got Macaulay on one side and whatever the other one is, Rory Culkin, whatever his name is, on the other. Yeah, I used to think that he was more involved in the machinations of that. And I think he was more participant than the manager.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And then who was one of the people involved in kind of the aftermath was Louis Free, who also
old one eye Louis Free, the same guy who prosecuted that Pizza Connection
case,
right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean just in regards to the Pizza Connection case, that was only ever going to be the Sicilians. It was never going to go into intelligence. It wasn't going to go into certain angles like with money laundering in other countries. It was going to be, the top defendant was Gaetano Badalamenti, who is one of the losers in the Second Great Mafia War that had been going on by 1984 when he got arrested. I think it was already going on for like 3 or 4 years, and had already killed, I think they were saying anywhere between hundreds or thousands. It was, I think one of his nephews owned one of the pizza places that was like in literally bumfuck Illinois. And
that's what I was gonna say. These were all spread out, right? It wasn't just New York City, right?
You had Queens. Well, so part of it focused around what they called the Knickerbocker Avenue crew in Brooklyn. A guy named Sal Catalano. Sal Catalano, they called these guys that come over from Sicily, they called them the Zips. Because they said they moved fast. I love
these nicknames from the Italian mafia, man. They crack me up.
They had Sal Catalano, Giuseppe Ganci. You had these guys who were connected with Carmine Galante, who of course got taken out in '79, possibly in furtherance of this conspiracy to kind of take over the heroin trade. but others, I mean, in the end,
yeah, right. That's what this seems to be, though, right? If I may interject, sir, I think there's excellent analysis, but we always see in the films, right, with these ideas that are permeate throughout Hollywood in these mafia films, which I've never been a big. I'm not a big fan of anything that promotes crime necessarily. So I've never really been a big part. I didn't only watch the Godfather. I watched the making of the Godfather before I watched the Godfather, right? From Paramount there, but we do see all these things like, oh, the mafia doesn't do drugs. No, we're noble men of of organized crime. We don't do drug. We don't deal the drugs, right? That's like that's the constant. But it seems like that's what this was about. Was
we're noble criminals.
Yeah,
noble
criminals. Right. We're refined. We're the refined criminals.
One of the biggest myths. I mean, and then you could, when they talk about when the kind of partnership between the Sicilians and the American mafia started, a lot of people lay it at a meeting that Joe Bonanno attended, and they said, Joe Bonanno, he was anti-drug, like he was the basis for Vito Corleone. No, the whole thing about dealing drugs was don't get caught, because especially when the sentences, when it became the bugbear for politicians, when all of a sudden they needed to. Yeah, well, Nixon's war on drugs, that was part of it. But when they started finding whether it be cocaine was the drug they needed to go after, or heroin, you could be looking at, a small amount and be looking at 25 years to life. So, and, when you got a guy who's maybe a button man for one of the 5 families or outfit, whatever the case may be, and they're looking at 25 to life for, something they were hoping to, maybe keep a small percentage, because what they got to kick up to the boss and, this and that, they're going to rat. And, that's a big problem. So the thing was, the open philosophy was deal and die, but that really wasn't what it was. It was you get caught.
From what I understand, there were like individuals that had issues with it, particular people that were in positions of power at various times, but it was never it wasn't very common amongst the organization itself. Because like you were saying, it was pretty much just don't get caught. Or it was, there's another scam that I found that is more lucrative. Stop selling drugs because we're going to make more money doing this.
That's the only time. That right there, I think, is the salient characteristic I've taken away from studying all this mafia stuff. Is that, knocking shit over here. My apologies. They're happy to do it unless it's an economic decision.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they I don't know if you guys ever saw 30 years ago, but you can find it on YouTube. Gotti, the one with Armando Sante playing John Gotti.
I've definitely recommended that. I've yet to watch it, sir, but
it's good.
It's a good one.
It's going to be high on my list before I watch John Travolta play John Gotti.
And
trash, absolute trash.
Absolute trash.
They have a scene when it's John Gotti, his brother Gene, Angelo Ruggiero, and I think there's another guy in there. I mean, 3/4 of the guys went up in The Sopranos. But talking about how they're going to starve under Paul Castellano, the boss, who was more like emphasized like the white collar aspect of earning money. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? You don't think I want a piece of Sammy's construction? Talking about Sammy Gravano and all of his businesses, or DB's porn, talking about Robert DiBernardo and his involvement, because every New York mob family had an in with the porn business. But we saw that with Colombo's and their guys, whether it be the Perenos or Francesi, whatever the case may be. But then at one point they get into mentioning drugs, and John Gotti's like, no, we're not getting into that. Don't even think about it. But then in the end, Gene Gotti, Angelo Ruggiero's brother Sal, who was killed in a plane crash, he was a huge heroin trafficker. When they got involved in that, they get busted because they had taps on Ruggiero's daughter's phone, but that's what he was talking on, and that inadvertently triggers Gotti killing Castellano. That it was a choice that had to be made, because it was either Castellano or him. But the consequences of drug trafficking. I mean, the Pizza Connection case. I mean, a lot of those guys. Now, again, a few of those guys actually got.
So that's
killed
kind of the story we're seeing here. Is the Pizza Connection case?
Well, I mean, Paul Castellano was supposedly named as an unindicted co-conspirator, but I don't think they ever really him with Rico, him accepting the 10% as tribute from his soldiers, kind of like how Luciano.
Well, officer, if I've learned anything from watching these mob films, you got to pay tribute.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But that was the whole thing. Like, if you accept money in terms of how Rico is, you're involved in drug trafficking.
You get the same charges, right?
Yeah, that's how Paul Castellano got brought into the Roy DeMeo case. Like he was, with the stealing the cars, shipping them off to Kuwait and everything. Like, Paul Castellano was one of those people indicted, but then gets murdered. They had to keep amending the indictment because people kept getting killed. That was, a huge aspect of that.
Crazy.
And, the Pizza Connection case, though, as I was saying, I said a few of the guys got killed. One guy got killed before trial started. That was Cesar Bonventre, who was one of the trigger men on the Galante killing. A guy named Gaetano Mazzara. Yeah, he got killed. I think they found him in like a garbage bag, on one of the streets. And this guy, Pietro Alfano, who I believe was Badalamente's nephew, who was out of Chicago. Bumfuck Illinois, I should say. He got shot and paralyzed during the trial. So there was some loose ends they were trying to tie up.
Is there any prosecutions for these hits during the trial?
No, they never found them.
Right.
They never found them.
That always seems a little too convenient, right? Like they never got anyone for Johnny Roselli eating 2 bullets, right?
Right.
Yeah. One of the guys we're saying so many different places. One of the places that they were running was out of Philly. They had a guy named Benny Zito who was involved, a Sicilian guy. And at one point they had him on pictures going to Queens and meeting with some of these guys. He disappeared. No one knows what happened to him. Some speculated that he was murdered,
with the fishies, sir.
Or some said he might have even turned, that he might have been like, because I've read, there was 2 books written about.
His name's Benny Vito?
Zito. Z-I-T-O. Yeah, Benny Zito.
What was his nickname? Did he have one?
No.
Oh, he needs one. He needed one.
Yeah, he does. But there was, I think it was called The Last Days of the Sicilians. That was about Pizza Connection. There was another one that was just called, I think it was Pizza Connection, drugs, money, this and that. One was by this guy, Ralph Blumenthal, who I think is still around. He was like a writer, I think, for the Times. And the other one was
not a lot out on this guy, huh? Zito? There's not a lot out there on this guy. You said this Blumenthal book?
Yeah, he was in that. And there's a woman, Shayna Alexander, who wrote a book about Pizza Connection. I think she's the one who speculated that someone saw him like in government custody or something, that he might have turned or something like that.
Wouldn't turn, but never testified, I guess. Is that the idea?
Or maybe they were using him in another aspect.
Okay.
Supposedly, Louis Freeh was communicating with Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino, who were the prosecutors in Sicily, who would eventually bring the Maxi trial against the commission out in Italy, and then both of them would be summarily killed in the early 90s. I think only about a year apart from each other.
The Department of Justice was working in prosecution in coordination with Sicilian authorities.
They were getting some information. I think it was kind of like just information sharing or whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I think Falcone and Borsellino kind of got the idea to go after, the Sicilian mob in how they did their trial off of how the U.S. had charged, Giuliani had gone after the commission and charged them. That commission trial started in, it was 85 and concluded in 86. And by that point, Paul Castellano had already been killed. The Maxi trial, I think, started like a year or 2 later. That was, I think, it was over 300 defendants. They basically constructed their own, it was done in like a bunker to keep it safe from any sort of bombing attempts. Because at this point, they got a history of that over there, right? Offensive process, their mafia trials get some real bloodshed, don't they, over there? Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that Maxi trial had over 300 defendants, and you'd have these guys in these cells grouped together and watched as, like, some of these guys, they call them, I think they call them pentiti, the ones who would turn. So guys like Tommaso Buscetta and Salvatore Contorno. And when they testify, these guys were like screaming at them and trying to intimidate them. But yeah, in the end, it was like, I think, yeah, it wound up being like over 300, 300 people, and a majority were convicted. And I think one or two who got acquitted wound up getting whacked not that long afterwards. So, I mean, there was long memories with these guys. I mean, the Corleonesi were the most vicious of the Sicilian mob, and they were considered like the country bumpkins, but they wielded the power. And some of these guys, like one of their first mainstream bosses, a guy named Luciano Liggio, you'd see a picture of him, and it wasn't even like it was a full face picture. Like, it was almost kind of like this guy walks in the shadows.
This is the only known one of him, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he wielded power. I mean,
Brutal.
It was him, and then Salvatore Reina, whose nickname was Toto, Bernardo Provenzano. I mean, these guys were vicious guys. I mean, and just as quick as, you could be on top, and you could be someone who's, taking guys out for them, until the day you wind up going to a meeting you don't come back from. Like, that was something they talked about. Some of these, and if you disappeared, I think they called it like the White Death. Like, that was meant to send a message when you disappeared off the face of the earth. They wouldn't even give your family the benefit of finding you. You would just, yeah.
Yeah, you would run into people like Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman.
Yep. Still think a lot of stuff of him is, I mean, despite the exaggeration of his crimes, I do believe he had the goods on Sammy the Bull, and then, about killing a cop, and then Kuklinski's dead he died of something fast, and something that led to him losing like over 100 pounds. And that guy was like, I think only a couple of years.
Kuklinski did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said
was it the AIDS? Did the AIDS get him?
Well, it's weird. So Kuklinski, now his brother was a child killer, and he was ashamed of his own brother, and justified.
I didn't know that. His brother was mobbed up too, huh?
The two rule thing. The two rule thing. What was Kuklinski wouldn't kill women or children, I believe.
Yeah.
It was like the line that he would draw. And so that trope actually comes from him. Like, so when they use that in movies and everything, that comes from him. But yeah, his brother was a real piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean, but apparently so was the dad. Like, there's the whole thing that the story goes is that his father beat his younger brother to death.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, Kuklinski, so in the end, he says he kind of almost gives kind of like Henry Lee Lucas numbers. Like, I think he admitted to, like, he said it was 200 people.
He tries to claim he killed Hoffa too, right?
Hoffa, Roy DeMeo.
Roy DeMeo too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think once he was in prison, there was a certain point where he was just like, fuck it, I'll just fuck with these people or something. I don't know, because it kind of just definitely seems like a Otis O'Toole and it literally seems like it literally does. I mean, he was a killer for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, at a certain point, so like there's a famous interview with him. I actually just saw it today or yesterday, where he admits that the first time, at least on camera, that it was about 100 people, which I think that's what they were able to pin on him after the fact, even though they didn't convict him on all of those. But
right, he's the Forrest Gump of mob hits.
Jerry Capisi doesn't believe. I mean, Jerry Capisi wrote Murder Machine about Roy DeMeo and his.
Okay, I've read that one. I've read that. It's a good book.
Murder Machine, great book. He said if Kuklinski was ever interacted with DeMeo's crew, he said he might have picked up a weapon. Doesn't go into the porn stuff because the DeMeo's crew was definitely involved with porn too. But
big time, right? Big time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Michael Francese. I mean, come on. I mean, he seems
the irony here, though, right? He's calling him a liar, dude. That's just one of my favorite videos on YouTube, dude. Is Sammy the Songbird Gravano and Michael Francese screaming at each other that they're both rats. And I'm like, wait a second, both of you are rats. You're both right.
Yep. Yeah. No, with Kuklinski, I mean, I think he did have information, but I've said anyone who challenged the Sammy Gravano with the 19 murders and he wasn't involved in drugs, even though again gets arrested in Arizona for running drugs.
Yeah, and I don't think that was his first time dealing. He had the largest ecstasy ring in American history. I don't suspect that's the first time he was dealing drugs.
Yeah, definitely not. But yeah, you could. But because he never said it. Now, it's funny. I was just saying. So today's the anniversary of Treat Williams, the great actor Treat Williams' death, and he was in Prince of the City, which was based off a real guy named Bob Lucci, who was with the NYPD's Special Investigations Unit, and then turned and recorded
I didn't realize Treat Williams died, dude. He was a good actor. I like Treat Williams.
Yeah, he got killed. He was on his motorcycle, and it wasn't his fault. Someone went into his lane. Someone who knew his family too, and he passed. It was really shitty. But with that movie, like he says, I only did 3 things, 3 illegal things, and he says what they are. But then as time goes on, they're like, you did more than 3 things, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, and that happened in real life. And at one point, they're like, you realize every piece of testimony you ever gave could be completely thrown out the window because you said you only did 3 things. And that's kind of like with Sammy Gravano. Like, so he says the 19 murders, including his own brother-in-law, and the other things he was doing for the mob, like I'm sure probably extortion and other stuff like that. It wasn't all legitimate or whatnot. That, you could admit to dealing drugs. Like at that point, like when you're giving your proffer, when you're giving that, testimony, but it's unofficial. They call it the king for a day, queen for a day thing, where whatever you admit to, they can't prosecute you for. You're giving it of your own volition, but they can't use it against you. But he doesn't mention the drugs. And then Gas Pipe Casso, who is going to be a rat along almost the same line as Gravano a year or so later, says Sammy dealt drugs. And then that's when the feds are like, we're done. Like, send this guy over to Florence, Colorado, get him out of our sight, and can't listen to a word he said. And it's like, okay, so we're not gonna listen to the fact that possibly Sammy dealt drugs. No, because he didn't admit to it, and it would have endangered a lot of prosecution. Kind of like when the information about Greg Scarpa came out and his deal with the FBI, people started wondering, okay, well, how much did the FBI know, and was the FBI covering up for Scarpa? Was what was legitimate with Scarpa's thing, and does that maybe cast the what do they call it, the fruit of the poisonous tree in terms of the cases they got for the other people in the Colombo family war.
Right.
One of the guys is still trying to get out. Vic Arena, who was the on the losing end of that war, they put away for murder, and I think he's trying to get a compassionate release. And I think he's got to be like close to 90 if he's not. And Scarpa came to a pretty bad end, but kind of deserved it. I wouldn't wish an AIDS death on anybody, but Greg Scarpa got it because he was racist and only wanted blood transfusions from his own guys, not realizing one guy was a steroid abuser and used shared needles, and that's how he got AIDS. But
Guy Magic Johnson too, right?
Hey, if it's not going to be tainted blood, it's going to be lasers. You got to.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, with Kuklinski is to me a very interesting figure. But yeah, even that movie they did with Michael Shannon, that was not a great movie. It was okay, but it was such bullshit. Like in terms of they have Ray Liotta play DeMeo, and James Franco is one of the victims in it.
Dude, he's the worst.
Yeah, and he's like, something like, you're praying. He's like, okay, if God shows up, I won't kill you. And he kind of waits. He's like, all right, time's up. I think in the end, Kuklinski, they only got him for 5-6 murders, including cyanide in the guy's hamburgers. And
Right.
He killed the guy who taught him how to disguise time of death. The guy they called Mr. Softy. This guy, what was his name? Pronge. Robert.
That's not a good name. That might be the worst nickname I've heard from that group. Mr.
Well,
Softy. You can't get a respectable name on the street by the name Mr. Softy.
He drove a Mr. Softy truck.
Did he really? Okay. That at least makes more sense then. You're not going to give a street cred with that name, but maybe that's the only way you do it.
What's his name played him? Chris Evans played him in the movie. And, you know, he shot until eventually Kuklinski offed him. You know, like Kuklinski was definitely a evil guy. I mean, and it's funny, though, the thing about women and children, but it said at the same time, it's like his family was terrified of him. Because they said he would get these ticks. He would get these ticks, and then he'd lash out. Like he'd do something with his face, like a little like tick, and then they're like, you knew not to be near him. And he said, to his daughter, one of his daughters, I think he had a son and 2 daughters.
Yes.
And he's like, just to let you know, God forbid I hurt mom or I kill mom, I got to kill all of you.
Yeah.
And he said,
there he goes. We lost him. Yeah, no, he was at, yeah, exactly. They got him. JJ, no. They absolutely were terrified of their dad.
Yeah.
And they've said as much. And what's interesting is his wife ended up giving an interview at one point talking about how on the outside that they were basically the perfect family.
Oh God, yeah.
Right. Which I find incredibly interesting that they were like the all-American family on the outside, and yet, you know, on the inside they had their drug issues. Their dad was a mob hitman, and
he was involved with porn. I mean, you know, he was there was that whole thing. That's how he, what was it, doing bootleg or something like that. He was doing. I think originally he was involved with film, and then eventually he was
Kuklinski.
Oh,
okay. They interviewed his entire family after he passed on Larry King, so he died 2006. I remember I just moved down to North Carolina, and I was always big into mob stuff, and I always liked true crime. I had watched HBO had done 3 shows with Kuklinski, including, you know, like, I mean, it was called like the Iceman tapes.
Yeah.
And I think 2 of them were where he was interviewed by a psychiatrist. And you just watch him.
Yeah.
And part of you wonders when he's just going to leap across the table.
Yep.
You know, because it feels like he's barely.
It was that tense, huh?
It took 6 cops to take him down. 6 cops.
But when they arrested him, what did they bring? Like 47 cops or something?
Yeah.
They brought force.
He got that Kawasaki disease, apparently. I'm not sure what that is. Sounds Japanese related.
It's so weird, but mainly affects children. Like that's weird.
Yeah, that's under 5 years of age.
Yeah, that's weird stuff.
That's allegedly what he did. I don't know much about him, honestly. Like you were saying, there were so many documentaries about him at one time. I was like, it's too much, dude. Like when you're trying to force a subject down my face hole like that, dude, I'm like, not you gents or the folks that interrupt. I do want to thank y'all for joining us here tonight to kill GCD. But you know what I mean? Like when there's all this stuff going on, I'm like, all right, I'll let the dust settle on all this nonsense before I ever look at it.
Yeah, it was you know, I mean, they did 2 books. There was a guy named Anthony Bruno and Philip Carlo, who did a few. He did Kuklinski. He did one about Tommy Patera, a guy named Tommy Karate, who they're doing a movie about.
Tommy Karate, dude. He's out of prison, right?
No, he's still in. Tommy Karate.
Oh, one of the Gemini twins that got out, right?
I think both Geminis got out.
Both Geminis are out?
Yeah, Anthony Center and Joey Testa. Yeah, they both got out because, you know, why not? You know, 2 of the more vicious murderers of the DeMeo crew.
They better watch out, dude. QAnon's hunting mobsters. Remember that one?
Yes, I did. Going back with
yes, I apologize. You were talking about Tommy Karate.
Oh yeah,
it's one of my favorite nicknames they got.
Pete Davidson is going to play him, so they're making a movie about the federal agent who brought him down, And I think the federal agent, it's supposed to be the guy who played Richard Jewell and was just in the Naked Gun remake. Hauser.
Oh, okay.
Hauser. Yeah, he's going to play the FBI agent. Because Tommy Patera killed a woman. I mean, he was a guy who was probably one of the most vicious killers in the Bonanno family. He had some sort of weird thing with his voice that like people like mocked him. He got really big into studying karate, like that was his defense mechanism. Stone cold killer. What else? I want to say
there's plenty of photos of him doing karate stuff on the interwebs. I do recall that.
Yeah, I think Philip Carlo also did one about Richard Ramirez too. Like Philip Carlo wrote like a few books or whatnot. But yeah,
so he's still alive, dude. He's down at USP Big Sandy in Inez, Kentucky. Interesting.
Yeah, Tommy Patera was dangerous guy for sure.
Fairly young, still 71. He's been there a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, wait to see if a guy like him gets out. I mean, just one of the other guys who was involved with the Pizza Connection on the periphery, a guy named Baldassare Amato, has petitioned to try to get out on a compassionate. And it's like, some of these guys, they will let out if they truly believe they pose no threat. But I said they're going to let die in prison. I mean, it's in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't let Sonny Franchise out till he's like, what, 97 or something like that?
Man lived to be over 100, and people said he lied about his age. I mean, Patera was involved. Willie Boy Johnson. Willie Boy Johnson was one of John Gotti's Bergen crew. The guys he ran with on his way up. And Willie Boy Johnson had been an informant for years, and he got exposed. He basically got unmasked as an informant by Gotti's the prosecutor who went after Gotti for racketeering. One of the three that he wound up getting, one of the three that he skated on, because they always talk about how he avoided, Gotti got the manslaughter conviction in the 70s where Roy Cohn was his lawyer, but he only got 2 years. That was for killing the guy who allegedly kidnapped Carlo Gambino's nephew and killed him, supposedly. Then he did 2 years for that. Then
Cohn was his defense counsel, huh?
Yeah,
that's wild.
Interesting.
Yeah, he wound up. Well, I mean, Roy Cohn. They always talk about Bruce Cutler, Gotti's later lawyer, being disqualified for being house counsel for the Gambinos. I said Roy Cohn was a superstar mob lawyer. I mean, he represented Carmine Galante. I think he might have even represented Fat Tony Salerno. Gotti. One of my favorites.
Diabetes was Fat Tony's true enemy.
Mob nicknames, man.
That's how they got the Simpsons character was
right.
Fat Tony. But with 2 seconds. Fat Tony. Trying to remember.
I think it's interesting that I didn't realize this dude right here, old Tommy Karate, was part of the crew there with the Bonanos.
Mm-hmm.
The Bonanos that what's his name was embedded into. What's Johnny Depp's there with Al Pacino's?
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco, thank you, sir.
Yep.
I didn't know what I was going to call him, but it certainly wasn't that.
He was with the losing faction because Sonny Red, Dominic Trinchera, and Philip Jacone were all killed in May 1981. That was the one that Joe Massino would. That was his big hit that he took part of, and also Vito Rizzuto, the boss out of Canada. That's what they charged him with 20 plus years later, extradite him from Canada to face charges on that. And meanwhile, Canada, they'd wind up going to shit. They'd wind up going a war for control of that mob, territory up in Montreal. And it was a war between the Italians and the motorcycle gangs. And I think there was might have even been a Jamaican crew in there. I mean, it was insane. They made a series with Bad Blood that I think was on Netflix for a couple of years with Anthony LaPaglia played Vito Rizzuto.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to mess with them Haitian gangsters, dude, them voodoo gangsters.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was the whole thing about it was that Vito Rizzuto had united these gangs, and there was kind of like a peace, and then he gets arrested, and then a war starts up between, I forget who the faction was, but against the Rizzutos. They killed Rizzuto's father. They killed his son. They what's his name? Paul Sorvino played him in the show, and in the show, one of the guys who's like LaPaglia, Vito Rizzuto's like lieutenant is the great character actor Kim Coates, who was in Sons of Anarchy and was in Last Boy Scout and so many different movies. And he kind of is the narrator to the show, like talking about like all this stuff and how Rizzuto had kind of brought everything together and then just as quickly degenerated. I still hear stories that the war is still going on, which would mean this war has been going on for 20 years.
It seems that way. I was going to ask you, sir. You're my brain hole. I was going to ask you that question. When we see circumstances like this, I don't believe for a second this is the same mob family that John Gotti was in charge of, the Gambinos there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think for a second that anyone who murked this dude had anything to do with the QAnon conspiracy, but that's what we were sold, right?
Yeah, I don't buy that for a second. Not a second.
Well, I don't remember anything about QAnon mentioning anything about the mafia or the Gambinos or John Gotti, none of that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just such a random thing that would be the case, that it would be, just some nut job who decides to kill a mob boss. But then again, supposedly there was a story with Gotti that there was someone who took a pot shot at him at the Ravenite, which was the club he eventually kind of took over after Neil Della Croce died, because that was where Della Croce kind of had his headquarters. The Ravenite was shot at. I think someone even tried to drive a car through it at one point, but they said the one who took a shot was, I think his name was like Chacon, and they said he was, not right in the head. They still killed him, but they're like, he wasn't right in the head. He was, I don't buy it. I don't buy the Cali thing that it was, just a QAnon person. I said, like I said, a lot of mob hits, what I've mentioned before, like mob wars. Mob wars are a great way to attribute every death to a territorial dispute and factions. It could also be house cleaning when you decide to take someone out and just be like, okay, I'm going to lay this at this guy's door, this guy's door. I mean, the Colombo family war in the 90s, there was 13 people killed and a couple innocent people involved in that too. I've mentioned before the Boston one, the McLean-McLaughlin war, which was in Winter Hill, like around that area, and that was 60 people. And they said later on, there was definitely some people who were getting killed. The Italians were getting involved, even though that war was really exclusively Irish, that the Italians got involved and took out some of their garbage in their own way and just been like, okay, we're throwing it, we're going to just attribute it to, this McLean-McLaughlin thing and, whatever, it's not a big deal. And again, when you're picking up bodies left and right, who's to say, when you're a cop, working overtime, trying to close a case, you might just say, screw it. We're going to attribute to this gang war that's out of control. And that's it. Chalk it up, erase the red on the board, change it to black, case closed, and solves the solve.
That's kind of how I see this case, because initially, like this was saying here on Wikipedia, the source of all information on the interwebs, it says the crime was originally believed to have been related to a personal dispute. Possibly a romantic matter, not between the shooter and the mob boss, allegedly his granddaughter.
Interesting.
That was the initial reports.
Just give me one quick
maybe
second.
Daughter, but I think it was granddaughter, because he was 53, but the shooter was 24. Yeah, the whole thing, I've never looked too much into it other than the initial looking at it. I was like, that's crazy. And then, like we're saying with the drug stuff, it sounds like, according to a 2018 report, he when he took over the family there, he bulked up its heroin and Oxycontin business.
That tracks, though.
Right?
It absolutely tracks.
Yeah, it's a very strange case, though, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
He pled guilty, so that's I thought he pled guilty. I was trying to find that part. Yeah, right. So we don't ever hear anything else about it, right? He pleads guilty, so he's sentenced to an undisclosed prison sentence at an undisclosed correctional facility. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Because it's a New York case, right? It wasn't a federal. Wasn't a federal case, right? New Jersey case, right? No, it was Staten Island. It was Staten Island. Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back into that, because we see this guy, this Muppet today. I'm JJ Vance. This is Vance Boatler. This is the guy that was murking those Minnesota folks. He pleads guilty. The Minnesota lawmaker is the one that he apparently he initially claimed that Tim Walz hired him to do it, right? Or told him to do it. And he worked for Tim Walz. And he also had this very murky commando background and shit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Super strange.
Yeah, oh, big time. Big time. Oh, so I wasn't even on this screen. I just got back. So, yeah, I didn't see her off the screen there, Phil. I also didn't realize I had a comment stuck up on the screen the entire time.
My computer was reading like danger zone. It was down to like 4 minutes, to charge. And I was like, shit, I got to find a charger.
Oh, nice.
I don't want to dip out, and I don't want anyone to think, that I rage quit.
You rage quit? Yeah, this is a Kane show.
Yeah,
Kane's the rage quitter.
I'm enjoying this. So yeah, no. It's,
absolutely, yes, sir. I thank you both. Appreciate both your gents' time. Appreciate you folks of the earwebs joining us here tonight.
Always.
This is what we get. I feel like that's what when I saw a comment earlier talking about Tyler Robinson. What if he pleads guilty? I think it might have been Twiz that said that, but whomever said that in the chat, that's what I was thinking. They might be in my brain hole there in the chat. Might be getting used some of the lasers getting shot at me, reading my brainwave. But that's what we get. We don't get any more answers because they pled guilty. It's the case closed, case sealed, like you were saying with some of that mob activity, Phil.
Yeah, it's just I mean, like I said, when you have I think it's just the chaos, the confusion of something like that. Why not attribute it to, and especially, let's say if you're going to clear a murder by saying, okay, this is a territorial dispute, and then you could have it even better. The victim's dead, and then the perpetrator might be someone who's the next one, fallen. So, it really could just be like, oh shit, we could just wipe it off. You're good to go, and not a problem. It just they kill each other. That is the best way it works out for them.
If y'all don't remember, yeah, for sure, sir. I totally agree. And if y'all remember about this case, like the wild ass details, they had this dude. This is the dude in the crazy mask. This is what started. This is like one of our, call it Mask Gate. This is one of the first masks. We see him knocking on allegedly this old ass dude knocking on the door, right? He exchanges gunfire with numerous law enforcement officers, jumps out a second-story window at one house, wanting to assault another house of another Minnesota lawmaker. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah, no.
Right.
It's weird.
And we'll never hear another word about it because much like the QAnon killer of Frank Cali and, who apparently kills a major mob figure and mob boss because QAnon told him to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think that you'd be.
The rest is history.
Trust the plan.
Trust him. RFK's alive. Trust the plan.
you would think, you'd be dead behind bars. You kill a mob boss. It's crazy in and of itself. They put you in protective custody. You would think. That just doesn't make sense to me. But a lot of stuff that has emanated from the QAnon sector of things has never completely made sense. So I've told multiple people, I'm like, I didn't even really hear of QAnon until I think it was like 2019. Wasn't something that was,
QAnon.
Yeah, I never put much stock in it, and again, not to shit on anyone who's believes in it. All of them. I said
I'll shit on them.
QAnon. What's his name? And again, take it for what you will. When a guy like Mike Flynn says, "Oh, it's definitely a psyop," I said, and that guy, I'm sure, has probably been involved in a few psyops in his own time.
Did he say that? That's what he said was the psyop.
Yeah, he said it's a psyop.
Didn't he do the QAnon pledge? I'm just going through my QAnon file, my brain hole at the moment. A lot of malted hops and bong resin in there, but I believe he did the QAnon pledge around July of 2020. There was this thing that was going around the interwebs of doing some sort of I don't recall the exact origins. Some sort of QAnon pledge. I remember seeing Michael Flynn do that in like his backyard or some shit.
Yeah, he's, you really wonder where his loyalty kind of lies. I think it's to himself. I don't,
Right.
I know, I know he doesn't like being questioned about certain things, because I know when Megan Walsh started questioning him about certain aspects and whether he was okay with, child trafficking, and, whether he would come out against someone like John Walsh. And he's like, I don't understand why you're attacking me and my family or whatnot. She's like, I think she basically said, because you're full of shit and don't seem to, be accountable for things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Flynn got railroaded on, the whole Russia shit, but that thing was kind of a psyop to a degree. I mean, because it just deals with the fact that that the end of the Cold War was really kind of horseshit, but there is kind of sort of like what happened in the 70s when there was a CIA, what they called the A team and the B team, the assessment of Russia's capabilities. And the B team saw Russia, this is, I think, where the neocons came from. The B team were the ones saying Russia is a far deadlier threat than we're thinking, while the A team was more like, we've over compensated on their missiles. Like they what we think, they're actually far less a threat than we think they are. So it was like there was a split in the CIA and in certain intelligence sectors where it was like, okay, Russia isn't the threat we think they are. We could probably start winding down this sort of period of aggression. But you look at, okay, so the end of the Cold War is 89 Berlin Wall, but then 91 when you have Gorbachev stepping down, and the attempted coup, and Yeltsin comes in, and Yeltsin and Clinton are all buddy, but meanwhile Yeltsin goes full authoritarian within a few years and literally bombs like their version of Congress. When he leaves office, I think there was billions missing from the government coffers, and what was it? By the time Obama and with Hillary as Secretary of State, they want to reset the relations, and that goes completely poorly. And then next thing you know, Russia's behind everything again. They're horrible, talking about the
right.
Crimea, and it's always the communists. But and again, like you said, Putin's not a good guy, but I said he's definitely not as bad as they're making him sound like he's Stalin 2.0, and it's like,
right, yeah, Russia is not our enemy anymore. I mean, I guess as in like us citizens, he's definitely the enemy of the Epstein class to some extent, because he doesn't seem to be a part of that. Once again, not saying like he's a good guy, but he doesn't seem to be too thrilled with what he refers to as the satanic West,
I foresee kind of a Gaddafi end for him when the time comes. That's
I think eventually sword right up his ass.
Well, they already
Gaddafi style.
They've already tried to regime change him to a degree. Wasn't it one of the guys from the Wagner Group or whatnot? Like, I mean, they want to kill him.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. That one got weird. Didn't they shoot that guy out of the sky over there or something?
Yeah, I think so.
In response?
And, I mean, it's not going to be a guy like Zelensky who winds up beaten. I think Zelensky will meet his maker soon enough. But
Zelensky is dead as soon as anything ends over there.
Right.
Well,
he's clearly a Muppet of the most Muppet regard.
Well, and he's hated. He's hated.
Before they found him, he's playing piano with his dick on TV or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like
walking around in high heels.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That'd be like grabbing Andy Dick off of his most recent overdose on the streets.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you want to run for president, Mr. Dick?
I could see that. I was anytime I
vote Andy Dick for president. Andy Dick and Hunter Biden. It's the crack campaign.
You know what? At this point, let's do it, because I mean, maybe that will show everyone exactly how pointless the office is.
Yeah, maybe that will end it. Maybe that will fucking ramped up the end of whatever's going on right now that folks are trying to limit the end of. Right.
Yeah.
The tipping point, if you will.
I always blame Ben Stiller for Andy Dick, because I said if it wasn't for the Ben Stiller show, Andy Dick would not have been anything.
That's funny.
I
mean, never thought of that.
I said who do we have to blame Ben Stiller for? I said Andy Dick, to an extent, Janine Garofalo, and I said a little bit Jack Black. I was like, it's even though I will always like Ben Stiller. Number one, his pretty damn good portrayal of Tom Cruise, and
so great.
and what was the other one? Hold on one second. Oh man, there was one I was just thinking of he was really good. Well, he plays
Ben Stiller.
Really good Ben Stiller plays really good exaggerated characters. I mean, whether it be the guy, what was it, Heavyweights, the one where he's running the fat camp.
Which is kind of like the same character he plays in Dodgeball to a certain respect, right?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, there is a theory that it is the same character.
Oh, there you go. Especially at the end when he gets all fat again, right? Tony from Fat Camp.
Right.
With, the other one I love is when he plays like the version of the Menendez brothers in Cable Guy.
Oh, that one's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. And just like see him get frustrated when he's, in the trap with the glasses off. And then when it's the movie version, it's Eric Roberts, which is friggin' hysterical too. But yeah, when we got the audio tape, someone killed my brother. I think he was Asian. And he's trying to describe him, and it's just like it's so horrible.
Oh, it's super cheesy, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Well, that was first of all, Jim Carrey was not supposed to be the star of that. It was supposed to be Chris Farley.
Really?
Chris Farley, they were originally looking into for it. Supposed to be more of a comedy.
Even did some more like test or not test screenings, but like test shots and stuff, and they started doing some like pre-production stuff, and then
that'd be weird to see.
Yeah,
it's like watching Eric Roberts play Marty McFly and those like test shots they did there.
Eric Stoltz.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Eric Stoltz. I got the two Erics mixed up. I do that with my Bills too. My Bill Pullmans, my Bill Paxtons. I do that with Eric Stoltz and Eric Roberts a lot.
Chris Farley, the movies that could have been. First of all, he's done 85% of Shrek.
Right.
He's done 85% of the lines of the movie, and then they had to redo it. He was up for Fatty Arbuckle, the silent movie star who got
the Virginia Rapé affair, huh?
Yep. And the other one, he was approached to play Herman Goring. That was one of the other ones. I think it was going to be one of them David Mamet was going to do the screenplay for. I know that. And because I read what was it, the Chris Farley Show, that was written by the same guy who co-wrote a book about John Belushi that John Belushi's widow had done. But yeah, the
Chris Farley's first cousin is currently the CEO of Ford.
Really interesting.
And a board member of McDonald's. Isn't that weird? I apologize for the interruption. That's strange, right?
No. He had a big family, Farley.
Born to a banker father in Buenos Aires, Argentina. You don't say.
Oh, Argentina.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, Chris Farley's dad was always kind of a big guy. They said, Tommy Boy was kind of loosely based on Farley's relationship with his dad. When Chris Farley
looks
died,
like a Farley.
Well, have you seen his Chris's brothers, like Kevin and Kevin definitely is like.
Which one's in? One of them's in Joe Dirt.
Probably Kevin. I'm gonna guess Kevin.
He's the cop there when he gets rescued from the hole. He's like, "Oh, come save me! It's me! It's Joe Dirt in the hole."
Kevin played. There was a movie, an American Carol. He played Michael Moore, and it was supposed to be about Michael Moore, becoming the most hated anti-American filmmaker. And then he gets visits I think Kelsey Grammer played George Patton. Bill O'Reilly's in it. David Zucker was a liberal. Oh God, yeah. David Zucker went from being a liberal to after 9/11. He said liberals became assholes, and he said years later with the way comedy cancel culture is, you couldn't make a movie like Airplane nowadays.
Well, that's true.
We deal with now, so that was part of what kind of led to his ideological shift. But yeah, Kevin Farley was in that. They all kind of bore spitting images, but Kevin definitely looks like Chris. But yeah, their dad, I think their dad's name was Tom. After Chris died, the dad just stopped caring. Dad died at he was over 600 pounds. You know,
No
when he
shit.
died.
He's a great big
Swear to
fat
God.
person.
Yeah, he stopped caring because of how close him and Chris were. You know, like there was.
I mean, that's an effort though. Like people say, like to stop caring. I'm like, I think that's an effort to achieve that kind of weight. Like, and you don't do that easily. You know what I mean? Like that's an effort to like to attain that level of fatness.
But you know, it's I mean, all you're doing, you're drowning your sadness in shit ton of food.
Right. Lots of calories.
I mean, yeah, in a way, it reminds me what you were just saying. Being an effort is what's his name? Tom Segura talking about this year. I'm going to get really, really, really fat. I mean, this is back when Tom Segura was heavier. I'm talking about, he's like, yep. He's like, I'm just going to get really, really fat. It's like,
it's just not easy, dude. Like I was a personal trainer part-time for many years when I was in the Air Force. Did there for like 15 years part-time. I train a lot of fat people. You know what I mean? It's not, and I remember talking about like how, hearing stories of how they achieve that level of fatness. I never trained anyone 600 pounds, but definitely the 300 pounds for sure.
That was my wife's uncle at one point was 600 pounds. And
holy shit, dude. That's a lot of beef, dude. You're not getting in that like buildings and vehicle, like things are not made for folks of that size, of that volume.
Sweet guy, very nice guy. I met him Christmas Eve, a year after I started dating my wife, and we went up to visit upstate New York. And I remember he was the only one, because I would drink Coke, and like my in-laws were all Diet Coke drinkers, and I couldn't. Diet Coke is disgusting to me. But her uncle, I got some for you. Like he'd get it. And then my wife told me later, she's like, yeah, he was an accountant, and he would drink on his way to work and on the way back 6-packs.
Yeah.
He downed a 6-pack of Coke on the way into work and one on the way home. That's a shit ton of, that's 144 ounces of Coke. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to drink almost 2 liters a day.
And the sugar, that's probably like, I'm thinking probably 500 grams of sugar in the ballpark of that, with that amount of, that serving, if you will, that bucket of Coke.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's like after a while, it's rocket fuel. It's not good. I stopped drinking soda like 14 years ago, and it was probably one of the best things I could have done.
For sure, yeah. Folks do put on, when you talk, folks put on that kind of weight, that is tend to be what they're drinking, the calories.
Oh, well, there is
alcohol or Coke. I mean, they're both about the equivalent as far as the damage it'll do.
There is a correlation between soda drinking and even diet soda drinking, because diet soda is,
it's almost worse. Yeah, from everything I understand, it's almost worse.
The constantly needing to have something salty, it's there is that. So that's what kind of, like, I dropped like over 100 pounds just based on, and people were like, what, how'd you do it? I'm like, I stopped drinking Coke. I said, that was a huge thing. And I was like, yeah, then I just changed, I get my caffeine through coffee, and I don't even put sugar in it or milk. I said, just straight black coffee. I said, you don't get any, despite the fact they keep trying to say coffee has this or has that. I'm like, as long as
I just drink, just black coffee,
Yeah, as long as I'm not mainlining it, I'm fine.
Yeah, I went through many years of drinking. I'm a big bourbon drinker years ago, so I would drink, bourbon and Coke, and eventually just went through just bourbon. I was just drinking straight bourbon. I was like, there's, because I was cutting out the sodas and whatnot to cut out the calories and stuff. I'm like, this is too much, dude. I'm just going to cut out the bourbon. That's a lot of calories, especially when you're mixing the alcohol and the soda together like that. It's a great big old weight.
It'll start. I mean, at a point, there's nowhere for it to go.
You ain't kidding.
It's
I probably tipped the scales around 275 in my heaviest between injuries and drinking.
I was 350.
Yikes! So you got me beat, sir.
I was 6'5", but big is still big.
Well, there you go. So there we got a little bit of difference there. I'm only 5'10", so 5'10", 275 sits a little bit differently.
But yeah, it was right around the time my kids were born. My kids were born like over a 3-year period, and it was by the time my second child was born. Like, there's a picture of me. I wasn't really rocking the beard as much. Yeah, in my spare time. You could be Dewey Decimal and you could be a mob enforcer.
You moonlight as a mob enforcer in your older days, your younger days. I mean,
it was funny when everybody knew how much I loved the mob stuff that they used to call me Clemenza. That was like a nickname. A lot of guys.
Okay.
From the, love the Godfather, but with drinking that much soda, it's like, and I thought it would be tougher to give up, and it just was like just day by day, and yeah, I don't even really miss it. It's not something where
I don't know either.
Yeah,
I used to chug Diet Mountain Dew, especially when I was on duty all the time years back. Active duty, I would chug Diet Mountain Dew like it was going out of style, like it was a shortage of it somewhere. I gotta get this Diet Mountain Dew in my belly right now, otherwise
Mountain Dew is
gonna get weird.
Addictive. It's super addictive.
Oh, dude! Then I realized that like the shit they use, the ingredients in that are like fucking, one of the cleaning solutions, bromide. I forget which one. Like stuff you find in industrial cleaners is in your back. Not anymore. I believe they stopped doing that finally. But.
Well, you think of what they were putting in Diet Coke, aspartame, and for years the FDA wouldn't approve it. And Donald Rumsfeld,
good old Donnie Rumsfeld. That's right.
For Searle comes in, and then they get a push. They get a push through, and it's like, and oh no, Diet Coke 1 calorie, and it's like, okay, that's fine, but first of all, it tastes like shit.
Tastes like shit, dude. Allegedly causes cancer, right? But also, it seems to have a worse impact on folks' bodies than actual sugar does. Regarding, even though it's 0 calories, it's the way the body processes it.
Yeah, and I remember then afterwards you had Coke Zero, and I remember I had, what the hell was it? I had Coke Zero with Splenda, and I was I remember taking one drink and I spit it out. My wife's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "No good." I said, "This is no good." I said, "Nope." I said, "I don't want that shit." Nope, not a chance.
I stay up to speed on my fast food news and my soda news, and I do see that they have a Mountain Dew Zero now. I won't dare touch it, but I see they produce that. There we go. A higher insulin response. That's what I was looking for, Twist. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it spikes the insulin more than regular sugar does.
Well, that's why it was a good thing that, and I know it wasn't popular with everybody, but I said when I heard that with with Snap or whatnot, when they were saying that you couldn't buy soda with it, I said, well, there's a reason, because I said it's not good for you. Right. I said, I'm like, even when you say, oh, I'll get diet, it's worse. I said, it's not good for you. I said, diet soda might be one of the biggest cons there ever has been. It's
sure. And we get a psychopath old Rummy there involved in the mix, getting that approved.
Oh, that guy's such a piece of
diet soda and recycling.
Diet soda, recycling, and 9/11. Thanks a lot, Tom.
The unknown known.
There you go, sir. Well, there's the known about Donald Rumsfeld. He's a real dickbag. Good riddance, that Muppet.
Yes.
No, it is funny how those things, like if you start looking at this amount of shit, the volume of shit there is allowed in Americans' food under the FDA, thanks to folks like old Rummy there, versus what is same corporation, same manufacturers, right? Same company, same food products. They're making it in compliance with the laws of that nation and in the laws of this nation at America. They're pretty wide open. It's kind of the old west of as far as what you can put in there. It seems it's getting a little bit better. I don't know the whole "Make America Healthy Again" thing with RFK Jr. is working out too well, but it's getting a little bit better.
I think they pay, some pay lip service to RFK, and then I think the position was compromised. I think there's certain I think there might be a line where he might just be fuck it, I'm done. Right. And again, I don't think he's going to serve the entire part of the term. I said we're talking at this point. He's been there for a year and a half. I think there'll be something later on, because again, like you get a guy like Trump, and I said I have no faith in Donald Trump at this point.
He consumes Big Macs 2 at a time, dude. I mean, have you seen what the dude eats? His meals are fucking ridiculous.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Trump was meant to be a gay man. Like, have you seen the way he talks about like some of like the servicemen? Like,
the way he dances, his little dance,
right.
he's a little
Well, and
effeminate.
come on, the village people, really?
Yeah.
It's a little on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, yeah, they one of my OBDM, our Big Dumb Mouth podcast, they have.
Oh yeah, I listen to those guys. I like those guys.
He's just a massive guy. They got the Trump clips of be like Big Jim, Big Liver.
Yeah, Big Jim. I like trucks.
Yeah, he's well, the best one. Yeah, I love trucks. My mother says you love trucks. Yes, I do.
Yeah,
the one with him, the 4 minutes of him saying China in different variations.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic, right? China.
Yeah, China. I'm not.
I initially tuned into that podcast for the fast food news, and I stayed for the Alex Jones clips.
Oh my God,
years back.
For the week. Yep.
That's what got me hooked on all the Alex Jones clips. That's why I enjoy this clip so much. Let's see what Alex Jones has to say.
I've known you for years, but you're Jewish, right?
I'm actually not. I'm raised Roman Catholic, but I have a great affinity for Jewish people in Israel.
You're gay. That's what it is. There's always something.
Okay, yeah.
My point is, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Oh, you're gay.
I mean, in Alex's case, it's clear to see how they could get confused between the two.
Right.
Yeah, I have what is it? One of the shirts my wife got me. It's all happening, and
it's all happening. There you go. That's a big Alex Jones one too, right?
Oh God,
it's all happening.
Yeah, I mean the Alex Jones clips are the best. They said that, and when even though he's been gone for a little bit, Joe from OBDM, he's been gone for a while. He's been.
Yeah, I kind of like that dynamic when they have all three of those dudes on there.
Yeah, they're just fun. They kind of bounce
They
off each other.
They remind me a lot of folks from. I think they're all from the general area of Ohio, where I hail from there. So in more recent years, and where I went to high school.
Yeah.
So I see. But I'm familiar with some of that mindset that they talk about when they talk about shit from years past. I mean, I remember that kind of culture. But yeah, I feel like they don't have that dude on there no more.
His job supposedly is keeping him so busy that because he's like in the I think he's in the IT or something like tech aspect. So is Mike. I know that. I think that all of them are actually. But in Joe's case, it's kept him too busy to do the shows. And I said because his rage is the best. Like he'll like some of the clips of him flipping out or some of the best ones. But
I love the way they highlight Alex Jones every week. Too that they got the Alex Jones clips of the week, and I'm like, yeah, this stuff. That's initially how I found their podcast.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't even have to take. I mean, there's some that are a little bit out of context, but everything else is just him. So it's like when you hear him, when you
the
see
shit he says, dude, that's the whole. Are you gay? Oh, you're gay, right? Like that's the least of it, dude. Like he says some wild shit on there, dude. Today he's saying that he knows who did Q. I haven't watched it, but he has something on it because they shut down Info Whores, but he's got his own Alex Jones Live now or whatever, which is the same fucking thing, apparently. Strangely enough, same thing. It's like, they're shutting us down. I'm like, really, dude? I don't think they are. But yeah, he says he knows who Q is. I remember him going on the Joe Rogan podcast circa October of 2017. I guess right around where Q started, I suppose. Maybe it was October 2018. He's like he was telling Joe Rogan he knew who Q was and he could get him in touch with Q. And I'm like, what is this Muppet talking about?
I mean, do we even really know? Like, has anyone truly speculated on who they think Q is, or is it something where it's like a deep throat it's kind of like a composite that it's like?
I think it is. I think it's a composite, and I saw Steve Bannon's name getting thrown around. I see a lot of Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon getting thrown around from some of the stuff in the Epstein files.
So some of it, at least what I've heard, do you guys remember the like Cicada 3031?
Right.
Whatever? Some of those guys went to Q. So I mean, there's like internet trends. It kind of seems like some of those people that launch these trends are actually involved in Q. There was some connection to 8chan, of course, 4chan
with Epstein, right?
Yeah, well, Epstein was involved with 4chan, which is 4chan? Interesting. Yeah, and there was something else that spawned from 4chan, so tangentially, I guess Epstein had involvement in that. But I mean, they're literally running a psyop because I mean the whole Trump Pepe thing that came from 4chan.
That's right.
And then the whole do you guys remember the OK symbol? Like you know, I mean that was all 4chan. I mean these people are definitely using these message boards to push this shit. HBO actually did a pretty good documentary. However, I think like the conclusion that they came to in the documentary, like it was just one aspect of a multi-part, you know, psychological operation. So
I do think it's multifaceted with numerous parties involved. Oh, yeah. I think this guy right here is the fellow that introduced it on the Alex Jones show for the very first time on InfoWars.
Yeah, what happened to Pachenik? Is he still even around? Because I think after a while, so many of his predictions were coming up wrong that people just
I haven't heard from him in a while, but he's allegedly still alive, right?
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I remember though, like at one point when actually it was OBDM was talking about Pachenik and, you know, just to how reliable or unreliable he actually was. And, you know, just I think it was back right after Trump left office the first time and talking about, you know, the ones who were saying, oh, there's going to be a point. He's going to be, you know, Trump's going to be reinstated as president. You know,
right,
this and that.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's been a big part of the one really pushing the narrative, right? Go ahead, sir.
I was just saying, like pushing all that military tribunal stuff. Like, oh, they actually, you know, they kidnapped Hillary and put her in Guantanamo, and
this dude's as deep state as it gets. He traverses different parties between the Republicans. Right, he was these deputy assistant secretary of state under Kissinger, Cyrus Vance, that were the Democrats,
and then James Baker,
and James Baker.
Right. That dude glows.
He's of a
no wonder why he's still alive. He glows like
he
glows like plutonium. Like
that's what I'm saying. He really did. This is the dude who's like the spookiest of spooky on intelligence folks, but he's actually somewhat intelligent. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't believe he's a moron, right? You know what I mean? Right. Like when he does these things, he's not doing these things out of you know, I'm new, I don't know what to do, or that I forgot to breathe out of my nose. I'm just breathing with my mouth.
Hands.
Yeah.
Well,
dude,
just mentioned something with him and with Aldo Moro. Aldo Moro, that was the prime minister. Wasn't he the prime minister who got like kidnapped and was killed? And originally they tried to blame it on the Red Brigade, something along those lines.
Oh shit! So. Okay, yeah, here we go. Moro, yep.
Special envoy in Italy for Carter and to search for Aldo Moro. Yeah. So as we're talking about Pachenik, I think of guys like Donald Gregg, who was a guy who kind of straddled different administrations, or what's his name, Robert Gates.
Bob Gates.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't hear much from him anymore. And lately, he's still alive, I believe.
Still alive, I think. Retired, you know. But
he's the same age as Pachenik.
Okay. And guy like Donald,
he has traversed a lot of these different administrations, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, and a guy like Donald Gregg, who was CIA, but also I think worked with the Carter campaign, and then eventually went over to the Republicans. Who, by the way, is Adam Curry's uncle.
Adam Curry,
the
travel food guy,
MTV VJ, and has the podcast, podcast with John C. Dvorak. I forget what the podcast is called now, but one of the ones that's like one of the longer running podcasts.
Okay, I guess I've heard his name.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking of
No
the
Agenda.
food guy.
Yep, No Agenda.
All right.
Yeah, his uncle, because he's mentioned it on the show. He's like, "Yeah, hi, Uncle Don." Yeah, Donald Gregg was connected with Felix Rodriguez, who was aka Max Gomez, CIA, and good friends with George H.W. Bush, and there's go down those rabbit holes, and you might not come out.
This dude's been involved in all sorts of radio stuff around the world, huh?
Yep.
I don't know much about him. I've heard of the name.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't one of the original MTV VJs. He went in like the mid to late '80s and then to the early '90s. I think he did a lot of the actual rock music sort of aspect of MTV. But yeah, Donald Gregg's still alive too. 98
Yeah, he
years
was
old.
a national security advisor from 79 to 82. So he's done the same thing. So he's traversing different administrations as well.
They supposedly, so one of the stories about Gregg is that they believe he might have betrayed the Carter campaign at one point. Because
Really, born in Westchester County, New York. Why am I not surprised, sir?
when it comes
iniquity
to,
up there.
When it comes to and his boss at one point, Ted Shackley.
Okay,
Yeah,
yep. The ghost.
Yep. And look who else did you see go up a little bit?
Craig Spence?
Craig Spence.
Yeah. The Franklin scandal. All these Muppets know each other.
Yep.
That is incredible.
Right?
Wow. Just wow.
Yep.
Craig Spence, man. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that uncommon for these National Security Council Muppets to traverse various administrations. I mean, I know Trump fired all the ones from the Biden administration, which was a fairly unprecedented event in regards to National Security Muppet Acts.
Well, I mean, everyone talks about with Trump, is it loyalty or what? I mean, some of the moves he makes are smart, but at the same time, it's like he's also pissing off the same people that, like the deep state isn't just the top. The deep state is exactly the way it sounds. It's the assistants, it's the deputies. It is deep as deep can get. Record deepness is one of the other Trump audio clips.
It does. Record deepness. There you go.
Record deepness.
He misses calling as a stand-up comedian, Trump. I swear he did. My daughter's show, and he 3. Is this English, sir? Are you stroking out, sir? What's going on here? Your daughter's not advanced. It's not possible. Let's get it out. Get that out of here, sir.
Do you smell toast?
Propaganda. Well, let's bring this thing in for landing here, gents. I appreciate your time, Phil, joining us tonight to get a little GCD and other JJ. I appreciate your time as well here, co-piloting here on this Fridays. And folks of the interwebs, I thank y'all for joining us here. We'll offer it up to Phil there, sir. Do you have any closing statements, thoughts, or baking recipes here?
Oh, man, I forgot my baking recipes. You didn't tell me it was going to be that type of party. So we were talking about Midnight in Paris. Is that where we were? Is that where we left off? Woody Allen and a big bag of dicks.
Big bag of dicks. That's Jeffrey Epstein's favorite film, I think.
I'm just always happy to be here, and it's just great to talk about just topics that are enough to pretty much alienate anyone in my family when I start.
Yeah, the sort of topics you can't really introduce in polite society, right?
No, not Thanksgiving or a Christmas discussion. Right. No, definitely not.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, I appreciate your time, sir. I always learn something new. As always, every time we have these discussions, you do great service over there at the Dewey, as a secret agent of the Dewey Decimal Agency, and all your book knowledge. That's for damn sure. I do appreciate that, and appreciate the conversations as always. And other JJ, Jacob J, host of Rise to Liberty, sir. Thank you again. Sir. What you got cooking over there at Rise to Liberty? Any closing statements or baking recipes as well, also?
No baking recipes. I'm still working on this banana bread recipe, but all of you fine people will be the first
I like
people
some banana
bread. So I've got I have a big series that I did with Justin Riggs of LDS abuse. It's actually a response series that we did to a podcast called Word Radio. They're like a pro LDS podcast, which isn't the problem. The problem was the fact that they stepped out of their lane and into my lane with the satanic panic stuff and tried to debunk. Oh,
we got some debunkers, huh?
Yep, got some debunkers. And so we had to do a 3-part response series. Part 1 will be coming out Monday. There will be clips all weekend and then all next week. Yep, that's the one. Talking about false memory syndrome and all this stuff. We go through all of it. It's great. So be on the lookout for that. And then Monday, I'll also be dropping part 2 of my written Satanic Panic series, which is on my Substack, which is Beware the Mockingbird.
Right.
So, yeah, be sure to check those things out. Allmylinks.com/rise to liberty. And there's all sorts of other fun stuff I'm working on behind the scenes. So, including this show every week. So,
yes, sir. I got your links there in the show notes. And I guess the only closing thoughts are I appreciate this conversation. I look forward to Fridays here, a roundtable discussion of conspiracy culture and high weirdness. And doesn't seem like we're ever short of any topics of conversation, especially when teed up to a Friday morning of Donald Trump and fucking tall aliens, man. Well, yeah,
no, those were just Norwegians. That's it.
No, yeah, they live in Colorado, sir. They're that's the new narrative, right? They live in a small town in Colorado. They just tell them. They just tell the locals they're from Scandinavia. That's the story.
Hoingy boingy.
I got Operation GCD Sundays coming up here on Sunday, talking some more time travel stuff, and then I believe Phil, you'll be joining me here on Wednesday next week for an occult and or esoteric review of Timeline. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein's associated with that time travel. Phil, do thank you folks at Interwebs for joining us here tonight, and I'll get that super tips thing working. I appreciate the tip there, ma'am, and we'll make sure we get that played next week. Once I can get all these technical difficulties figured out. But on that note, watch out for time travel. As Lucy Morningstar always points out in the chat, beware of the flux capacitor, inventing a flux capacitor may cause you to bang your mother. I think it's actually Michael J. Fox's birthday today. Happy birthday, Michael J. Fox.
Hell yeah.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
And hey, watch out for lasers, folks. They got Ted.
Well, that's it. That's the show here, folks. So the next time you're out on the town, visiting your local watering holes, or perhaps just meandering around, and you hear the unmistakable sounds of metal clanking, and you spot signs of a disturbance, well, check your six. Look in that garbage can, 'cause you never can tell. The GCDs may be loose in your town.